I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Got my beach towel? Check. My beach chair? Check. And I'm in luck because the Summer Starts Here sales event is going on now at Arlington Toyota. Now's the time to get hot deals on even hotter Toyotas. Even better, Arlington's got over 300 new Toyotas available. And with every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. I think this is going to be your best summer yet. Shop the Summer Starts Here sales event at Arlington Toyota today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut, take two, action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose, to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself. To look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
Do you have a great idea for a new business, but don't know where to start? What licenses and permits are required? How can you find it?
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Saying it's just time, Bob Myers is stepping down as president and GM of the Warriors. Told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski his decision-making process included several factors beyond money. The 48-year-old, a two-time Executive of the Year and architect of 4 NBA championships with Golden State, said he's unsure of his future professional pathway. With the Warriors facing salary and luxury tax issues, Myers' successor will need to be creative so the team can stay a title contender. ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler.
For Golden State, maybe this is something that could give them a fresh look in terms of somebody having a different perspective on what they can do to try to continue this championship window, because I don't think it's closed yet. I think as long as Steph Curry is operating at the level that he is, you're still in the championship window, but it's going to take a lot of creativity on how you rebuild the rest of the roster.
Tim Legler on Fitz and Harry. NHL, the Capitals hired Maple Leafs assistant Spencer Carberry as their new coach. He takes over for Peter Laviolette, who parted ways with the team this offseason. John Hines out in Nashville, Predators' new coach, Devils assistant Andrew Brunette.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
What's happening? It's a short week here in Jacksonville. It's Tuesday already. What happened to the Monday and the early part of this week?
It's time travel.
Yeah. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz here on a Tuesday. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend, had some fun with the family, and remember those who served and have served. So one big thank you from all of us here at ESPN 690. A lot to get to here on a Tuesday. Jags back on the field for OTAs. Week number 2. They'll do the same thing next week and then have mandatory minicamp unless Doug Pederson cancels it again. Hey, speaking of, I asked Doug this recently. I said, hey, you pushed all the right buttons last year. How hard is it to push all the right buttons this year and do it again? I mean, seriously, every decision he made.
Almost every decision.
It felt like it, right? I mean, I know every decision wasn't, but it sure
I realize
felt
you're using hyperbole, but there was a point in time last season where it looked a little bit ugly. And you were like, oh, man, I hope this works out.
Yeah, how much pressure is on him to do it again? It's like, hey, I got my message, right? The tone, the this. Like, you're in a different circumstance. Like, it was one way you did it last year. Sure, if you were in the same situation, you could duplicate it, but you're not. You're in a totally different situation. And I mean, like, a really different situation. The Jags are now the hunted instead of the hunter in the AFC South. They come with expectations. They had none last year. So, this is, I think, a lot on Doug, but that's why I think he's really good. I think he'll do a good job. And I guess what I'm getting at is if it worked so well to cancel minicamp last year, would you consider doing it again?
Yeah, I don't know that he would consider doing it. You think he's going to do it again? I think a guy like Trent Baalke actually ends up putting much more pressure on Doug to do it again this year versus last year, only because you didn't make substantial additions to the roster. You didn't make substantial moves. And so ultimately, if the team is going to improve, Doug has to be the main conduit to get that done, does he not?
Kasey, if you're Doug Pederson, do you cancel mandatory minicamp?
Yeah, why not?
What the heck? Get out of here.
Let me say this. If you cancel mandatory minicamp 2 years in a row, and the Jags played well last year and then play even better this year, how do you ever throw it ever again?
That's it. That's it. But I would take that chance. I would see if I'm right.
Case.
See if it's a trend.
Just in case.
I wonder if the league frowns upon it.
Why would they? I guess if one coach doesn't do it and then the other guys don't want to do it for another coach or something.
Well, what's interesting about it is, like, one thing, if you cancel a couple OTA practices, those are voluntary. This is mandatory minicamp. Like, it's part of the cycle where everybody says, okay, these 3 days are important. Not for us, they're not. See, that was the great thing.
No meetings, no nothing.
Oh, that was it. I think they might have kept the rookies around a little bit longer, if I'm not mistaken. But
at a time where you can get penalized just for putting meetings on the calendar, doesn't it seem like you'd want to keep as many of those as possible?
True, we should get penalized for saying penalized. But I take a lot of kahunas right there from Doug coming into this thing last year and be like, yeah, I don't think we need these 3 days. And as it started out, when the Jags, I think people forget this part. Jags started out, 2-6, was it? I think 2-6. Well, they also lost 4 preseason games.
Yeah, that's right.
So they really had won 2 out of the first 12 Doug games. And believe me, I don't think preseason wins or losses matter. But
do you think he did at the time, though? Do you think he's watching this going, oh, boy, what did I do?
Well, but I remember some people, not a lot, but some people were like remembering back to mandatory minicamps, like, well, this is a team that said they didn't need 3 days of practices. They've won 2 out of their first 12 games in this regime.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, it was okay. So I think it's an interesting philosophy. Like, I would try to stick with I wonder how much he'll stick with, just in general, maybe not the mandatory minicamp, but that worked. I wonder how much of the message points, like how much of the calendar, how much of the I mean, these guys are creatures of habit, and I would say superstition has to come into play at least a little bit.
Of course. I don't think there are many athletes who don't at least have some superstitions, or people involved in these organizations. But I wonder if the equivalent is like the first time you run into a teacher, because this didn't happen when I was a kid, but I'm seeing it a lot more now with my kids. First time you run into a teacher that's like, we don't believe in homework this year.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the same as canceling mandatory minicamp, you think?
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
Kind of. Yeah, I think everybody's taken aback by, not everybody. Kids love it. Some parents like it, but I think even parents are like, what do you mean they're not giving homework?
I don't love doing homework with the kids. I don't love coming home from work and then going, all right, now it's time to sit down and do math I did 37 years ago. But at the same time, it's like, I was raised to think that was practice. You were getting reps in.
Yeah.
And so without them, you're worse off, are you not?
Yeah, I always think it's a discipline thing. But I would say this, from a homework to kids standpoint, this is totally different. Like, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars, some of them, and some are hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is their job.
Yeah.
Their job is to show up. I think it's really more like your boss saying, hey, it's Memorial Day weekend. Monday was off. You know what? Take the rest of the week off, too. That's really what it's like.
Yeah, okay.
Because, again, these guys are getting paid to show up, the mandatory minicamp part.
But isn't it a reduced version of what the real job looks like in a few months?
Yeah, true.
So maybe it was.
Yeah, I don't
like
know if there's a comp in that respect.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really think that's going to be interesting to watch. And I did. It was about a month ago now. I had a chance to sit down with Doug and talk about all these different things, and I think he's fantastic. Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious what he did, but also what comes across each day here on Brent Friends on ESPN 690. I'm a big fan of his, and I think his style and everything, and I think he might be on the verge of being one of the elite coaches in the NFL. We've had a lot of these rankings conversations, but I'm fascinated sometimes how people lead anyway, right? And this guy obviously has these. I mean, he can say anything right now, and they're all in, and so. What will he do next? Like, what's the encore for Doug Pederson in terms of what we can tell the button pushing is? We don't know everything he did last year internally. Not everything was public. But how he handles it, how he says it, what he says, what he does, I think that will be an interesting measuring stick. And if they flounder at all or falter a bit more than we expect, I think we'll look back on some of those things and say, well, why did he do it that way, right? If it works again and he had to do it from a totally different vantage point as being one of the contenders instead of the chaser, then I think that really would put him on the fast track, in my opinion, to really knowing how to do this. Really know what it takes to push the right buttons and get the most out of his football team. Because at the end of the day, that's his job, right? His job's to build culture. His job is to probably build chemistry to some degree. And his job is to develop him and his staff, I'm talking about. But his job is to get production. Right, and performance.
Yeah.
And that's, if he can do that again, because I think he did a hell of a job of it last year. And I really think from a coaching perspective, whether you're a good team or not, football, baseball, basketball, pickleball, whatever, I think the coach, I think coaches who do the best job, it doesn't always work this way because injuries factor in. So I'm not telling you you're a bad coach if it hadn't worked out this way this season or last season or whatever. But I think if you take a team at the beginning of the year and they're playing their best stuff toward the end of the year, that's a sign to me of a good coach. Like that's a coaching thing. And you guys know this. I've brought this up several times. I think Doug has been very good at that overall in his career. I think it feels like an Andy Reid guy, the tree that he's from, pretty good at that. Like they're not maybe great early on all the time, or there's a lull in the season, but they start building the crescendo toward the most important time. And I think that's really what's most important. You look around other teams. The Boston Bruins obviously couldn't do that.
No, they could not.
Right? There are teams that just can't do that, don't do that for whatever reason. But I think the best coaches, more often than not, have their teams playing a lot better, like significantly better, at the right time of year.
It's interesting sometimes you see a coach who's better situationally than overall. I don't think that's the situation here in Jacksonville, but some coaches are better with their back up against it, or some coaches are better where they feel like they've got the job security to take a few risks, and then when things get tight, it gets a little bit squirrely on them. So interesting to see what kind of coach Doug is. I'd like to think he's one of these overall coaches. To your point, working his way to that elite tier, you have to be good at a lot of things, not just one or two different things.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on that. Listen, the Jags obviously signed Brendan McManus last week. We did 2.5 hours on the kicking situation last Thursday here on Brent Friends on ESPN 690. It set a record for kicker talk. And we've had some interesting kicker conversations over the years.
A lot of kicker talk at the beginning of last year, too.
Yeah, there was. And Riley Patterson, no longer on the team, obviously traded to Detroit. We'll use that pick. And how many days now, Kasey? 1,000?
I think it's 1064.
Thank you. There we go. An update on the tracker.
4 days ago it was 66.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if math works that way.
Nope, don't worry. Nobody's checking you on there.
All right.
But obviously they have McManus out there today. He's kicking and
boomers.
He's got the big leg.
Man.
So obviously this, at the end of the day, this was a big leg situation. Even more than experience and everything else. This was all about a big leg. And there were some reports out of Denver this weekend. Did you see that? That McManus is a guy that's pretty vocal and involved with the PA, and I guess I saw that, yeah. So the thought is Sean Payton's kind of from the old, I think they said Parcells tree, where it's like let the kicker go kick and shut up, basically,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Might have been Urban's problem with Lambeau. Lambeau was very similar. I think Lambeau was pretty vocal and
outspoken.
Maybe the NFLPA stuff and everything else, but. This is all about the leg for McManus and the Jags, right? Is that the takeaway?
I mean it seems that way for sure, right? Like Riley did his job last year, so it's not like they were out there just hunting for a new kicker the whole offseason. But when a Brandon McManus drops in your lap, it seems like they want to take advantage of the opportunity. It didn't seem like that was the only reason they brought him in, though. It seemed like Brandon had a desire to come as well.
Well, that's an interesting part. How much does that matter? Kasey, does that matter? You got guys picking the Jags. I mean, it's a kicker picking the Jags, but sounds like he had other offers, and he's like, well, hey, I like what they're doing over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kicker, Like, that's fine. If he wants to pick the Jags, then, yeah, I guess you can hold that as like, hey, players want to come here, but he's the kicker.
I don't think you should dismiss it. I think that it's just more proof, more validation. Another player, regardless of position, you could be an usher, and you could be a front office guy. If you're hearing the Jaguars are a great franchise and you want to go work there, it all works towards the same point. It's a reimagining of the culture, a complete 180.
Here I kind of, not often I agree with Kasey. But I do agree with Kasey in the sense that, yeah, I mean, all right, let's not over-dramatize this. But what I would say to what I just asked is I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's a nice little check mark nod that, okay, yeah, Jags were in the mix and Jags were the winners of this, if that's what you want to call it. And he looked intrigued at coming to Jacksonville for the reasons we all know now, because the culture has flipped, or Pederson or Heath Farwell, or they're going to be good. Like, whatever. But what I would say to it is that's not the important part. The important part is it wasn't the opposite. Because I would take what Kasey said is like, yeah, it's the kicker. It's like, okay, well, what if that kicker said, I don't want to come to Jacksonville? It'd be like a bigger story.
Much.
Right? Because it'd be like, yeah, I don't want to go down there. Right? And any of the last couple of years or 15 years, even the kicker were to do that, you wouldn't be like, oh, it's just a kicker. You'd be like, no, it'd be headlines.
Of
course.
Like,
a player doesn't want to come down there.
And the fan base would hate that guy for a very long time, yes.
You don't think so?
No, because we'd be like, we have Riley Patterson. We don't care what this guy wants.
No, but you would care because he's out there trashing you and your city and your team.
No, we wouldn't. We would just roll him. We'd be like, who cares about Brandon McManus? He's a has-been. We move on. That's what we would have done.
Then why'd we care about Tony Kornheiser or all the other has-been
because
newspaper
that was like 20,
writers?
Because that was like 20 years ago.
But even 20 years ago, he wasn't like, who was he to come here and talk about the land of the Waffle Houses? Like, I think any time Jacksonville is in anybody's mouth, and it doesn't matter who it is, like what the level of respect, I should say, because if it's Joe Blow on Twitter, no one cares, even though the fan base will get riled up. But any guy out there with any kind of notoriety, whether you're a kicker or a columnist or anything, if you got Jacksonville in your mouth, literally last week there was an article written that was complimentary of Jacksonville, and people here took offense because it was condescendingly complimentary. It was, you guys don't realize this, but this is kind of a cool town. And everyone's here like, hey, bump you, man. It's been this way for a long time.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that it wouldn't matter if the kicker's like, no, screw Jacksonville.
Well, Kasey's point is, yeah, you already got a guy. Like, I get it, but I don't even think it has to go to right now. I think it would have to go to any time over the last 15 years. You might not have had a kicker, and then he chooses not to come because X, Y, Z, right? Or it goes back to the conversations of Jan and Jalen Ramsey wanting out. But I would add one more thing to it. If even Brandon McManus said he didn't want to come here, and you did have Riley Patterson, you know what we'd be talking a little bit about there? You know what would come up? Rats. Like that conversation, right?
If he didn't want to come,
you know what I mean? So, like, I mean, it wouldn't be dominant of the show, but you could bring it up, like, why wouldn't he come down here? Well, did they get a bad rap because of the stadium or because of this? Like, we'd be searching for reasons why.
I got one more. The kicker wants to come here. Why does he want to come?
I think because they're a contender.
All right, so team is good.
Or he likes the new facility. One of the two.
Team has good facilities. He enjoys the coaching staff, whether it's Heath or whether it's Doug or the whole kit and caboodle.
Trevor's going to put him in position.
Loves Trevor. Like, these are all things where you're like, hey, it doesn't matter who is saying them. This is great news for us.
Yeah.
And if he's saying it, other people are saying it. People are thinking it. There are people in the NFL who desire to come here, and that's a feeling the city hasn't had in a long time, if ever. It's regarding the NFL specifically.
We did tell everybody last week, if you were listening intently to ESPN 690, Cam Robinson was back in the building last week and out on the field today for OTAs, which means he was probably on the field for OTAs, and he was. Last week, it just wasn't open to the media. Mm-hmm. So the days that he was there, for whatever reason, he missed the first one. Again, these are voluntary things. The Cam Robinson situation in general is an interesting situation.
Are you hearing anything about what they have him doing out there?
Well, he's working his way back from injury. So I thought it was interesting to some degree. Like, I don't think it's a major deal headline when guys aren't there. Josh Allen isn't there. Obviously, Evan Ingram for obvious reasons. But Cam, I didn't think would be like a big deal if he wasn't there. Like, I wouldn't make it into a bigger deal. But I have wondered in general, forget about OTAs or not, is the organization somewhat ticked off with this suspension? I don't know that. But they went and drafted his replacement essentially in the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, that you could argue. So is that one of the reasons that they're like, listen, we paid you a bunch of money, and I know you're trying to get back from injury, but now you're gone for 6 more games after you weren't available to us in the playoffs and other games. And I'm not saying they hate the guy. I think they really like Cam Robinson and his game and his leadership in the locker room and his nasty and his everything. But I wonder if he's lost a little favor in terms of his reliability because of the situation.
You say it all the time. You say ability is sometimes, or availability is sometimes the best ability.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know any of that. So then on top of wondering that, I was like, okay, well then if that happened, like, and you're about to get suspended, wouldn't you show up for OTAs? Like, try to get back in the good graces?
And
maybe, like, I don't know. Like, if you knew you were going to cost the station 6 weeks of whatever,
it would depend.
Wouldn't you show up for even a time you didn't necessarily have to be here?
It would depend. If I thought there was a way back, 100%.
And I think this is less about the organization sometimes. I think this is more about your teammates and people and the guys in your room and stuff like that. So, again, I'm not trying to make this a big deal. I was just curious about it's just an interesting situation that he wasn't here, now he's here. And I guess it's a good thing that he's here. And again, he's still working back from injury. Like, there's a lot of concern that he won't even be ready to go early parts of training camp from the injury.
That's what I was most curious about is, okay, you're showing up, you're showing you're part of the team, you want to be here for everyone, but what exactly are you doing out there?
Well, I think you can ask that about anybody.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's that time of year, you know? But, I mean, the Cam Robinson role on this football team for 2023 is fill in the blank. Up for grabs, still to be determined, uncertain. Like, do those words fit? Or do you know what Cam Robinson is to this football team?
I believe in my heart of hearts that if everything goes according to plan, he's healthy when he returns, they're starting him at left tackle and seeing how the year goes. But the ice couldn't be thinner on that side of the line for him right now.
Kasey, you feel the same way?
Yeah, he's their left tackle when he comes back. They're not benching him for the cap hit he has. They're not benching him.
Yeah, do you think anything?
I lean toward you guys on that.
But do you think anything less than a great season with the time he has on there solidifies he's on the team next year?
He's not on the team next year if he doesn't allow a single pressure.
Yeah, because he's $17 million.
They're not paying him that. Absolutely not.
With everything else, it certainly appears that way. But I would say this. This could change. For some reason, and I'm still trying to figure out, they're putting the kid
at right tackle.
Harrison at right tackle.
You could always restructure Cam next year, can't you?
They're putting Walker Little at left tackle. If Walker Little doesn't play well at left tackle, what are you doing at left tackle next year then when you cut Cam? Going to draft another one?
Yeah, maybe you move Anton Harrison. You can just move
now
them all around.
Anton Harrison.
Yeah.
Like, I think
you got Walker Little for another year or two anyway.
I still don't really have a good feel, quite honestly, where Anton Harrison is in 2024. Like, I initially thought he was your left tackle, but now I'm not so sure. I don't know if it's going to be Walker Little playing on a contract year. Is it a somehow try to restructure, keep Cam Robinson? I'll tell you one thing that the Jags organization has shown to me in the last couple of years now with Trent Baalke, and he's really leading this even more than Doug Pederson, is they value having 3 tackles. I mean, there is no question they value having 3 tackles. And I get it. I get the finances. I get what you're going to have to open up money. I get the Jags are going to be up against some money and have to move dollars around. And to me, I'm with everybody right now that says, yeah, I would not bet on Cam Robinson being here in 2024. Get it. But when I ask this question is, what's Cam Robinson's role in 2023? I'm not sure I even know that completely. I think I lean toward both of you guys. I think you have to put him back in the 7th game because you're paying him so much money. So it's his job when he gets back. But there's two caveats there that affect the right now, or right now meaning this season, and then the future. Walker Little. What if he is playing unbelievable? Which you've asked that question multiple times when we thought Harrison was going to be there. And then what if he's playing awful?
Walker Little.
What does that do for the following year in your plans and your – I mean, again, Walker, you could be looking at a 2024 season where you have Anton Harrison and you have Walker Little, and Walker Little's on a contract year. So you really have not solidified your tackle situation. And now you went from 3 tackles to 2 tackles that you trust.
And then you've got a situation where you've got Trevor Lawrence.
Maybe 1 tackle that you trust, I should say.
Maybe, yeah. Then you got Trevor Lawrence going into the prime of his young adult career with his 3rd tackle configuration in 3 years. Like, no consistency on the line either.
And I don't know how much that part matters. Like, I don't know from a Trevor standpoint. I think continuity at the center position, I think continuity with the offensive line with each other, I think matters. I don't know how much for Trevor that matters. I think continuity at the quarterback position for the offensive line matters. So there's a bunch of stuff here. But Cam Robinson's back at OTAs. No drama there. Really the big 2 guys that aren't there, Josh Allen, and which is still a little bit interesting on the Allen front. But and Evan Ingram, which makes sense because he hasn't signed the franchise tag.
All right, guys, going off in the iCryo chat chamber, you've got YB saying that Cam scammed us and that Anton should go on the right and get coached up by Brandon Sheriff. You got Glenn saying Cam never plays another down for us. And Duval TV checking in with Go Jags.
There you go. Go Jags.
Go Jags.
iCryo chat chamber always open. The phone line's always open. 904-362-9901. Talk more Jags. Hear from Doug Pederson about what he had to say today. Also, a busy weekend. The Celtics, did they choke? Or do you give credit to Miami? And do you give credit to the Celtics for making it a 7-game series? Interesting psychology of that one. Plus the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals. And the mecca for it all is going to be South Florida. Just like everybody thought. 2 8 seeds. We'll be back, Brent Friends, on ESPN 690. Don't forget to follow along on YouTube with us, our Action Sports Jacks channel. Just subscribe to it. See everything we do right here on ESPN 690 and on TV, CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and warm today. Afternoon highs near 90 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, mid to upper 60s, and a partly sunny Wednesday. A widely scattered afternoon shower, thunderstorm tomorrow, but mainly inland near and west of I-95 with highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
As America's largest injury firm, we have advantages few others do. Our results and reputation are well known to the other side, and we have a track record of going toe-to-toe with them and winning big. But what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your case? I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One of the things we're most proud about is that we set up our firm so that your case gets lots of attention from a lot of people. Our technology and army of lawyers give us insight and oversight into every detail and every moment of your case. Paralegals, legal assistants, investigators, buildings with boxes of evidence. Every resource carefully designed to get you the most possible. And at Morgan & Morgan, we even have a dedicated team to make sure that your calls are returned that very same day. Injured? Dial pound law. That's pound 529. All law firms are not the same. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
Injured? Visit ForThePeople.com for an office near you.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
We want you to join the show on ESPN 690. Brent Friends daily, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Make a comment in the iCryo chat chamber on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Be part of the discussion and visit iCryo in St. Johns County. Elevate your lifestyle.
1946 was a year of firsts. The first commercial use of a microwave oven, the first album release from Frank Sinatra, and the first name in Jacksonville roofing opened for business. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company's commitment to protecting Northeast Florida homes spans 3/4 of a century. For roof repairs or replacements, make sure your first call is to the first name in Jacksonville roofing. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. The first name in Jacksonville roofing.
Simply Safe was named Best Home Security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. But we don't do what we do for the accolades. We do it to protect you and everything you love. Our advanced sensors, indoor and outdoor HD cameras, and hazard detectors are powered by live 24/7 professional monitoring, so you get emergency help fast. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The Dell Technologies Summer Sale event starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on essential accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
I mean, that's something we got to see with Brandon now, obviously, with his pedigree and again, his experience. But, I think that's yet to be seen. There is a comfort level, obviously, as a decision maker to put a kicker out there. When you look at, some of the top kickers around the league, when you cross the 50, the 45, 40, I mean, you're in the field goal range. So, obviously we're gonna take a look at that this spring in training camp and see how that plays out.
Let's see if he has as big a leg in Jacksonville as he does in Denver.
That'd be great.
Of course, Kuz, who went to high school with him in Pennsylvania, said yes, he does.
Glad we have that scouting report from Kuz.
That was 10 years ago. It said anytime he crossed the 50, they were ready for him.
That's great.
It is funny to think about the way we consume and maybe even discuss and talk about the game in the NFL, especially around the Jags, where you just dissect everything. But even not to the degree they dissect everything. Mm-hmm. And what I always say is, like, in our opinion, as we welcome everybody back Tuesday, Brent Friends at ESPN 690, Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, we would say, hey, 3rd and 3, great. 3rd and 6, it's doable. 3rd and 10 is a little bit different. Like, we draw a line somewhere. But for them, 3rd and 4 below, or 3rd and 3 below. 3rd, 4th, 5, and 6. Percentages change. Playbook changes. 7, 8, 9, 10. 3rd down. And then 3rd and 12, they'll just say, we don't have a play for this. But everybody's so used to, that's how weird the thinking is, that everybody's so used to picking up 3rd and 15 in the backyard or in high school football or on Madden. Yeah. They're like, what do you mean you don't have a play for this? Just try this. Go 4 verticals, man. We'll find somebody. Throw it up for grabs. Like, right. In the NFL, they're like, yeah, that's like a 5% play.
Yeah, we're gonna run the ball and kick it.
And no, that's a great point. Yeah. So we're gonna run the ball we're going to pick up 8 yards on a draw play, and then we're going to have the field position game play 8 more yards in our favor as we punt it. Mm-hmm. We don't think like that. We're like, why punt the damn ball?
No, we think that's an L when you give it to one of the better defenses in the league. Yeah.
So I think, and so to that point, what I'm getting at is Brandon McManus being able to kick it 5 or 6 yards more, not just on kickoffs, but I mean in a field goal, and feeling comfortable with something like that could be a big difference maker for the Jaguars in the way Doug calls plays.
Now, clearly they've looked at his leg at home versus his leg on the road and how the friendly confines, the friendly thin air of Denver may have affected that. But that was the first thing I thought when I saw we were bringing in a kicker from Denver. I was like, are we sure the leg is what we think it is, at least on a fan level?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
But I think they definitely believe.
I mean, clearly the Jaguars have all the sports science info they need.
Yeah, I believe this is solely on the leg. I don't think it's anything else. I think it's solely on the leg. That they picked and traded Riley Patterson, and they picked up Brandon McManus, and they've got to be right. Like, these are calculations that they've got to be right. The 5 yards might not be worth it if you make 74% of your field goals,
right,
instead of 84% for Riley Patterson or whatever it was.
And what a disaster if you put yourself back into another kicking issue by being too cute for the room when you had someone there who you believed in.
Yeah, and that's the other part of it. It's like they definitely, I mean, I think everybody started believing in Patterson. Like, there was no talk all offseason like, hey, I think they can upgrade kicker.
Right.
Did we ever mention that?
No, he hit some pretty big shots last year, the end of the season.
Kasey, let's get to cut one. Why did they trade Riley Patterson?
Look, first of all, I can't say enough about Riley and what he did for us last year, and obviously his huge kick in the Charger game at the end of the year to get us into the divisional round, and obviously wish him the best. And you guys know how Trent and I feel, anytime you can add a player, like Brandon, who's got going into his 10th year with the experience that he has, and an opportunity also to get something for Riley too. It's not like it was just a total washout there, but to be able to, get a pick for Riley and actually keep him in the NFL and keep him kicking, back in Detroit. Where he came from and started. So, it was just an opportunity to help us get better, as a football team, and we're always going to look to do that. And it's just unfortunate that when you're at 90 guys, you have to make these type of decisions to move on.
All right, Doug. Listen, I love you, Doug. I've told you how much I love you, Doug. But this decision had nothing to do with getting a 2026 conditional 7th-round pick. Like, it had nothing to do with it. Like, you had already sent the press release out that you waived him. So it had zero to do with that. So let's not go there.
Might be really keen on that graduating class of players, though.
The way he answered that question, which I don't think there's anything here, it's almost like this is something. Like, that was a soundbite in many respects, trying to be as respectful to a player that they almost wanted to get rid of.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say.
And I know that I don't believe that's the case. I'm just saying, that's what rang out in my ears. Like, this guy's a pain in the ass or something like that. Problem, it's good, but hey, great, glad he ended up somewhere. Like, that's the way that soundbite sounded to me, even though I don't think that's the case with the Riley Patterson situation. I mean, I don't think Riley Patterson was causing trouble on the team. And he is doing his job pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I just, what else are you supposed to, you can't say we liked Riley.
Just say he's got a bigger leg.
We like this guy better.
That's it. Just say.
And because then
why?
It's kind of insulting to Riley Patterson.
No, it's factual. They obviously put the numbers out there and they see it. They're not just guessing he's got a bigger leg.
Maybe it's an experience. How long has Riley been in the league?
But it's fine. I wasn't expecting him to answer it. Kasey, we did this the other day, right? Well, I couldn't wait to hear what Doug was going to say. But I also just, I thought he'd say, yeah, we think he has a stronger leg, kickoffs and field goals, and he's got more experience. I gave Doug the soundbite last Thursday. And, he did it too a little bit, but I thought he would actually be, that's all he needed to say to me.
I feel like he pretty much said that in the very next thing that we played coming in. He's like, yeah, you can kick it farther.
Yeah. That's
right. It is what it is. He was nice, and then in the follow-up question, he was like, yeah, you can kick it farther.
Yeah, because he said, well, we'll have to see. And that's where we get into, okay, does he kick it farther here in Jacksonville compared to Denver? But anyway, it's all good. It's Kasey thinks like Kasey thinks stronger than me in this situation because we talked about it at length Thursday. That like they really got an upgrade at kicker. You think that, right, Kasey?
I do.
I can see it. I'm just not sure I strongly feel that way. Like I don't know if it's sometimes you make a move just to make a move. I think we do this in the business world sometimes, right? Or we change something up just to change something up because we need something fresh for our own good, even though it's not. Like I feel like that could be this move. Like this move.
You think they do that in football with rosters?
I mean, I think
because it's a very dicey situation.
I'm not saying that's why they did it, but it feels like that's this kind of move. Like it could play out to be this kind of move. Like you didn't have to create something that didn't need any creation. Like I just don't remember how many times they needed to kick a longer field goal last year. And McManus would have kicked it, but they couldn't go for it with Riley Patterson. Do you remember those situations, Kasey?
No, not. I mean, unless you want to talk about the play with ETN. I mean, in theory, now you could have kicked that with McManus, the 4th and whatever, in the Chargers game.
That's an interesting one.
Don't you think Doug would have just gone for it?
I don't know. If you have McManus all season going 3 for 5 on 50-yard plus field goals, I think you probably kick it.
What was that? Was that at the 40?
It would have been 50 plus.
By the way,
I think they were at the 40, 41. I think it would have been like 57, 58.
Patterson last year, 2 of 3 at 50 plus yards.
Yeah, okay, but 50 plus can be misleading. 50 plus can be 51,
right,
and 53,
right.
But then 55 is something different. And now we do have guys kicking 56 and 57. I wouldn't say regularly, but it's also not problematic in terms of length. Now you start getting to 59 and 60, that's a different animal. We do see that too. Then you're talking altitude, indoors, all those other things.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, to see somebody kick 55 now, like it's not alarming. And to see somebody try to kick 56, 57, it's not alarming. With Matthew Wright, and I think even with Patterson, I think if you tried to line up for 56, 57, you're like, can he get there? Like you asked that question, can he get it there?
Well, he hasn't yet. So, yeah, that's your right to ask it.
But with McManus, you're not going to ask it. Kasey, I love that question. Like, so seriously, let's go back to that game. We know how it played out. I'm pretty sure, I think Kasey's doing this right now where they were at, but I'm pretty sure when he ran for that 4th and 1, they're on like the 40. When ETN picks up the big play.
On their own 40.
No, on they were on the Chargers 40.
The Chargers 40, okay.
And they ran it down
41.
like the 18 or something, right? 41. 41?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You're not kicking
that. This year, same situation.
You're adding 15 to that and kicking it? You're not kicking that.
Really, like 17. So you're kicking 58, 57, or are you going for it?
In a playoff game that late?
Doesn't matter. Now we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
If we ask this question, you're never thinking about it. You're never even considering it, but now you're thinking about it.
Yeah. but see, Kasey, this is what I was saying. You bring up you're creating a problem in your own mind. I always like the fact that I don't have to think about it. I got to go for it. Now I can make a wrong decision.
Yeah, totally.
You know? Like, I don't know if I like that. I can be wrong. Like, Doug couldn't have been wrong there because Patterson couldn't kick the 57, 58. Be like, you can later be like, I wish we had a kicker that could. But you couldn't be wrong.
Yeah, when your hands are tied, there's a certain freedom to it, huh? Where you don't have to make the call. The call's kind of made for you.
All right, there's one other element. McManus obviously can kick it deep in the end zone with more consistency. His touchback rate shows that. And now the new kickoff rules in general are a conversation, right? The fair catch stuff. And this is a big thing. And we talked about this because it's a big thing because the Jags have a weapon in that department. They have one of the best in the NFL. And Jamal Agnew at returning kicks. They have a true playmaker in the kicking game that could get, well, maybe neutralized if you chose to neutralize it and just take the fair catches or whatever other teams. Like we were saying last week, we're surprised the other teams even kick the Jamal Agnew sometimes. Here's Doug Pederson, cut 3, Kasey, on the new kickoff rules.
You know, he's a dynamic guy, and you see the explosiveness, you know, with Jamal, and it's like your quarterback. You don't want to take the ball out of his hands if you don't have to, and he can, hit a big return for you. And if he gets you up to the 40 or midfield, I mean that's huge, especially in a clutch situation at the end of the game.
I mean, again, you have got to make sure if you're the Jags, and I don't know how much you can control here, but you have got to give freedom to Jamal Agnew to be a playmaker. And if they give you opportunity, you take it. And when it doesn't work, I'm okay because it works enough. I think we spent a lot of time talking about this last week about how I couldn't believe teams kicked to Agnew at times last year. And he made them pay.
Yeah.
So another part of Agnew, which we'll get into a little bit later on this show, which I think is underrated too, is his ability to be used in the offense. And now you start adding it up. And it hit me today again. I don't know. It hits me every week, I guess. Like you see a picture from camp or something from camp, and you see Ridley, and you see Zay, and you see Kirk, and you're like, oh, yeah, Agnew in that mix with Ingram as well. Damn, that's good.
It's interesting.
Say it out loud.
We were talking about Doug before last season, like, oh, he's got this ripple in his offense and this ripple in his offense from Philadelphia. He's writing all new chapters with this offense. He's doing all new things that we hadn't seen him do before because he's got different tools. It just shows, again, that Doug is walking that walk of an elite coach, an elite playmaker, a play caller.
He's got a lot at his disposal. A lot of toys to play with for a play caller. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. We'll be back here on a Tuesday. Don't forget overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck tonight. We got a double dip for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp tomorrow. Actually have a 5:15 start time for that doubleheader. Coverage will begin right here for your home for Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp baseball on ESPN 690. Again, that's tomorrow 5:15 for a double dip for the Shrimp on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's gonna fit. eBay Motors. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Progressive Insurance protects people's cars, homes, and other vehicles. But if you've ever seen our commercials or even just heard our name, you probably already knew that. What you may not know is that we support Humble Design, a nonprofit that furnishes homes for families and veterans emerging from homelessness. Because a little help goes a long way. And a lot of help, well, you get the idea. Now, if you already knew all of this about Progressive Insurance, we're impressed. We'll have to find something else cool to tell you next time. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
True House, a leader in the structural building component industry for over 35 years, is hiring full-time truss builders in Jacksonville and Crescent City. Benefits include 401k plan, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, and professional growth. No previous experience required. True House offers production incentives allowing you to earn up to $2 more per hour in your weekly paycheck. Most employees work Monday through Thursday, giving you more time with your family on the weekends. Apply for the full-time truss builder position at truehouse.com/careers.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville. As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Jump in the iCryo chat chamber on Brent and Friends Daily on ESPN 690. Agree with Kasey. Disagree with me. Give Aaron a hard time about the Jets. Be a part of the iCryo chat chamber and check out iCryo in St. Johns County and at iCryo.com.
You know that the technical trades are red hot with career opportunities. Skilled heating and air technicians are highly respected and make great money. And nowhere are the opportunities hotter than at Hammond Air Conditioning, a local Jacksonville HVAC contractor that's been serving commercial and residential customers for over 60 years. Hammond is hot because there's plenty of work and a variety of rewarding and interesting roles, especially for experienced commercial duct installation techs where the projects are already scheduled and you could get to work right away. While Hammond has job openings in all areas, we're especially in need of residential and commercial service technicians. Because of the variety of work Hammond performs, you'll have a bigger variety of career directions you could take advantage of compared to the other HVAC contractors. And you'll be working for a family-owned local company that wants to see you advance and make more money. Go to HammondAC.com or call 904-398-6488.
Why can't I just speak to an actual human being? I need a new bank.
Well, actually, at One-to-One Financial, communication is not only number one, it's one-to-one. When you call, you get to talk to a real live Jacksonville human, fast and with someone who's truly concerned about your needs, your security, and finding solutions as a team.
Thank you.
Ready to break up with your bank? Find a real long-term banking relationship at One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit one-to-onefcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Make the superior choice when you hire a plumber. From unclogging drains and water heater repairs to complete cast iron pipe replacements, Superior Plumbing and Pipelining has you covered. Request a free estimate from Superior Plumbing and Pipelining at superiorplumbingjacks.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690. Did you, play against 12-year-olds this weekend or something? And proud of it?
I love that I never said I was proud of it. I just texted you guys the update. But basically, you said I'd never like to get outside ever. Man, was the weather gorgeous this weekend. Gorgeous. It was like low 80s, dry.
Wasn't it cold on Saturday?
A little breezy. It was perfect. It was sunny out. At least where we were. We were playing basketball in the neighborhood. And so I'm taking my son down there to play basketball, play a little horse against each other. He likes when I do the little countdown clock for him. And then I see this guy playing basketball on the court across from us. I'm like, all right, son's taking a little drink of water. Let me show him what dad can do. So as I get closer to this guy, I realize he's not a guy. He's a kid. But, he's kind of tallish. He's about as tall as me. I'm not tallish for my age, but he's a kid. So I'm like, I wonder how old he is. I ask him, he says he's 12 years old. But I watched him play, Brent. He was pretty good.
Pretty good.
I was like, hey, you want a little one-on-one action? Huh? Show off to my kid? And he's like, all right. So I'm playing this kid, and right away he jumps out to a 5-0 lead. He's hitting J's. He's driving. He's going through his legs with the cross. Stumped me up a little bit. I fought back a little bit, 5-3. I hit a 2 and then a 1. And then he knocked in 3 or 4 more. It was 9-3 at that point. And then we just kind of tit for tat until the end of the game. But I did lose. So I had to explain to my son how the important lesson here isn't about winning. It's about losing with grace. That was the whole point, son. I lost to show you how to lose with grace. And then I found the kid's bike and I flattened his tires.
Kasey, somehow this guy was picked to be on the Cox Media Group basketball team. Remember when that thing was a thing?
I don't think he was picked. I think they were like, please play.
I was picked. I was begged. You're right. I was begged. I was drafted.
I heard somebody talking about recently in the building. They were like, yeah, we put together this, whatever. What do we have? Kickball, basketball,
all kinds of ball, yeah.
It's like, our basketball team wasn't so good.
No, it wasn't so
it
good.
actually came up in that context. We're not, unprovoked.
Look, bowling team wasn't good either. They lost their first game.
I feel like The folks here at Cox Media Group would be good at bowling. Come on.
Oh, all right. I guess they do fit the stereotypes, certain people. But no, we got embarrassed. There was almost a perfect game that night. That's the thing about these rec leagues. They don't tell you before you get there.
There's a ringer.
You got like semi-pros out there. You're walking in there fat and happy. You just got off of work, ready to have some camaraderie. And here comes like gear guy with elbow pads, goggles, and a super professional bowler shirt. And you're like, oh, what did I just step into here?
That's actually kind of like the old softball. Like we talk about Media League softball, but it's not really Media League as much as just adult softball.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get these kids that have just graduated college now playing 25 years old, and they were just hitting 400-foot home runs at like Coastal Carolina. And now they're coming in to play softball.
They're coming to play against your 8-foot hoop. That's basically what you are to them. You're the 8-foot hoop. You're the wiffle ball.
You lost to a 12-year-old. That's disgusting.
But I lost with grace.
In front of your own kid.
Yes. I asked him, I was like, what school do you go to? Hoping he was in high school. He told me what middle school. I was like, oh, God, I got to go. I
love how you say here's how you lose with grace. Like, it is funny how circumstance sometimes sends us in a different direction.
Sure. Because I was going to show him
a lesson if you had beat him.
How to dominate a 12-year-old. I went in there trying. I blocked the kid twice. I wasn't giving him any easy hoops. The other part of it was on the same day, I ended up going to a concert. And it was just like old man day from hell the next day. Walking was a real problem. I'm still suffering a little bit.
That can be an issue. I hear you.
Yeah, man.
Believe me, as a guy who visits a pickleball court, I'm going to play some golf this week. I'll be hurting after every round.
Yeah,
I got to feel it. UC Kinetics, here we come.
Try playing golf against a 12-year-old. Then talk to me.
That's I probably don't have a good shot, quite frankly. Did the Celtics choke?
Yeah, I don't think so. I know a lot of people like to say
it? Yeah, or I don't think so.
Well, yeah, as in, yeah, you hear a lot of people saying this today, but look, I thought they were supposed to win that series and handily. I think I told Kasey before any games were played, I thought the Celtics were going to sweep, if I remember correctly. I didn't actually put a flip bet on it, so it's not a real thing. But look, to go down 3-0 and to fight back to Game 7, I don't think you can call that a choke.
Kasey, choke?
They didn't choke in Game 7. They choked the series. They got no business losing to the Heat.
Yeah, because they were obviously a big favorite. Now the Denver Nuggets are a big favorite, like minus 360 or 340 or something like that.
They should be, yeah.
Jokic is going to have a nice national stage.
Yeah, I feel like when you get it back, you have all the momentum, and you get it back to your home court, and you are the better team. And how often do we say, Kasey, like if you win Game 6, you're going to win Game 7?
Almost always.
And they laid an egg. It wasn't that they even lost.
No,
they laid an absolute egg. Jaylen Brown was like, listen, I don't watch.
Jaylen Brown was garbage.
He was terrible.
Did not
in that
have a
game.
good game, but he's a good player.
Well, Tatum got hurt, but
I would run so far away from Jaylen Brown if I was them.
You know
he was garbage all playoffs.
They're going to resign.
I mean, they were getting carried by Derek White.
Yeah.
Like, good thing they had him.
When the lights are the brightest, again, Tatum and Brown sucked. I know Tatum was hurt. They sucked all series. Like, those are two guys that you don't want as your best players. I'll take Jimmy Butler over both of them any day.
Yeah. Well, Miami wins. A little disappointment for the Celtics, and now it's the Nuggets and the Heat in the NBA Finals. Talk more about that. And actually, South Florida is the place to be. Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals. We'll be back. More football talk, including the Jags wide receiver core. Do they have too many options? Next on ESPN 690. It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
Have you seen your financial freedom wiped out by stock market volatility? It's Rich Jones. Consider investing in real estate funds from DLP Capital. Don Winter is CEO and founder.
DLP Capital has provided our investors with consistent double-digit returns by investing in cash-flowing residential real estate. For more than a decade, we have had zero losses, little volatility, and have shot above our return targets in all of our investment funds. Plus, we offer monthly distributions and tax shelter opportunities.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial **invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show, hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. fishing so fresh you can almost smell it.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts now for their children and grandkids. So it's pretty cool to see that family tree grow.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years. Our non-commissioned sales associates are experts. They have only one goal: your complete satisfaction.
We have a 6,000 square foot showroom with anything and everything that you can want. Beards Diamonds has been family owned and locally operated since 1981.
40 years later, it's still our goal to offer the largest selection of quality diamond jewelry at the best prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed. The reason we can make that promise? As Beards owners, we are on the floor helping you with your purchase. We have no corporate bosses setting the price. The chain stores can't touch our prices. They just can't.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com. Come in and see us. We'd love to help you. Anybody that steps foot in our stores is automatically a part of the Beards family.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
For all you Marvel Studios Guardians of the Galaxy fans, the new Volume 3 soundtrack is out. In addition to an unparalleled score album from John Murphy, be sure to check out the Songs album, available digitally, on CD, and collectible vinyl, featuring hits from Space Hog, Radiohead, Flaming Lips, The Beastie Boys, Bruce Springsteen, and more. Catch Marvel Studios Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in theaters now.
Hey, Jay, can you finish that induction range installation tomorrow?
Orders have really amped up at Nate's Electric.
We need to finish installing it first in Maine. Did we hear back from the grocery chain?
It's no shock he needs electricians, like yesterday.
Smart fridge. Everybody wants one of those these days.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bob Myers, the man who helped transform the Warriors into an NBA dynasty, told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski he's stepping down as the team's president and GM. Regarding the decision, Myers said it's just time. He added there were several factors beyond money in his decision-making process, the 48-year-old unsure of his future professional pathway. There was one trait in particular that made Myers so unique in his roles at Golden State, explains Woj.
His ability to problem solve, his ability to operate within the egos of coaches and star players and egos of ownership and keep everybody together, keep groups together. Listen, they brought Kevin Durant in, Kevin Durant left, they won 2 titles, and that dynasty continued.
NHL, the Capitals hired Maple Leafs assistant Spencer Carberry as their new coach. Devils assistant Andrew Brunette hired as the new coach of the Predators after they dismissed John Hines. North Carolina transfer Caleb Love, the best player available in the portal, announced his commitment to Arizona. He will start immediately in the Wildcats' backcourt.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
4 o'clock hour we go. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter. It's a Tuesday already. Last week it felt like 4 days to get to Tuesday.
It's really throwing you off today. I love it.
So all of a sudden you like today's Tuesday. Tuesday not as boring.
Literally, yes.
I didn't say that.
I'll say the only good Tuesdays are Tuesdays that are already your first day of the work week or something. Or your last day of the work. It's even better.
We do have some breaking news out of the University of North Florida.
Oh, boy.
Baseball coach Tim Parrington has stepped down from his position. 6 years with the UNF Ospreys. He is going to move into an administrative position as he continues to focus on his health. TP is one of the best. He is really an awesome guy. They did so many good things this year with that UNF program. The wins were not as numerous as they would like, but they set all sorts of records and home run records, and their offense really got cooking. Just didn't have the depth of pitching. And Coach Parrington is battled cancer in a couple different times and ways and has fought through that. He is one tough dude, but a really good dude. And one of the all-time, like I don't think people know this, like he was football and baseball guy at Mississippi State.
Two-sport star.
And just a phenomenal athlete back in the day. Phenomenal. And has had a heck of a coaching career. Spent time in the Rays organization, I think for many years, Kasey. And also bounced around, obviously, college baseball. Comes from a great pedigree. And classy Tim Parrington has stepped down. And now the University of North Florida Ospreys are looking for a new coach. And there's a lot of discussion that a couple of their big names have already hit the portal, by the way. And I don't even think related to this news. But this is just the nature of college baseball and college sports right now, where you're seeing this happen. Alex Lodis and Austin Brindling had fantastic years, and now they're going to probably get a chance to go get picked off by an ACC, SEC school or somebody like that, maybe even get some NIL money. We had Coach Driscoll in talking about this big issue, not just at the University of North Florida, but a bigger issue where if you go make a good call on a recruit, if you're a UNF, JU, mid-major, you name it, and that kid performs really well, you've found a great recruit, used to be a steal of a program that helps you go maybe to the NCAAs and other places. Now, you're basically grooming them for the next guy to come take.
Yeah. It's almost like a JUCO situation.
It's a lot like it. And again, I'm not faulting kids or anything, but it's just a wild thing. And, this Caleb Love kid, he's North Carolina, right? The basketball player.
Yeah, I think so.
He recently went into the portal, left North Carolina. He's leaving North Carolina basketball, which is kind of weird, right? And he's very good. Commits to Michigan. I'm not sure he ever stepped on campus. He's now going to Arizona.
Yeah, decommitted and has changed his mind.
I used to be a fan of this stuff. I don't think I am. And I don't know which it is.
A fan of people changing their schools?
I used to be a fan of the – I undoubtedly was a big believer and fan of the student-athlete getting more power.
You don't like it, though?
I don't like some of the ramifications of it. I'm a big mid-major fan to begin with. I'm from Rhode Island, Providence College, University of Rhode Island, basketball, right?
Yeah, so
I covered Albany and Siena.
Get specific about the ramifications.
The ramifications are now, like, what do you do?
If you're a mid-major.
Okay. If you're a UNF, if you're JU, if you're Albany, Siena, where I used to work, or even Providence College or Rhode Island or any of those, and they're probably more than mid-major, they feel like at times, but, like, what do you do?
Isn't there another way to
incentivize? Can you pay the money with the big boys? No. Do you go JUCO? Well, here's what, in the blood of coaches, I believe, is they want to coach and develop players and young men. Like, I really think that's in their blood. I think that's what they want to do. Now, does greed and money and all this other stuff come into play? Yeah. Absolutely. That's why we get a lot of the slippery stuff that also created where we are today, in my opinion. But now these And here's the other part of it, because we see it all the time. We have this committed to the uncommitted program in football and baseball and softball, and it's really hard for the high school kids now to get to campus because nobody wants to take the high school kid, develop them, because now you're going to be afraid that you're going to get picked off.
And you lose them, yeah.
Or you don't need to because you go get the kid that's 21 instead of 18 and has played a couple years of college.
So then why wouldn't the mid-major kind of slot themselves in between the JUCO and the Division I school?
Well, I think they are. They're going to slot themselves into looking at transfer portals. The guys that thought they could play at North Carolina or wherever else and can't, so they rode the pine, so they're going to get them. And they're going to go get the junior college kids that aren't getting picked off by the Floridas and Florida States and others. And then they're going to go to the high school bucket, most likely. But I think there'll only be so it used to already be difficult in some sports to get on. There's only so many spots, right, for a high school kid. Take basketball, for example. What do you got, 13, 14 kids? Mm-hmm. So that's what, 3 or 4 a class? Well, I think that's going to shrink down to maybe 1 or 2 a class
if that.
In high school. And I'm telling you, if you're listening for a kid's sake, if I'm a kid and I'm now selling myself as I want to be a program guy. Like I don't want to bounce around. Like I want to come here and be here for 4 years because I think that would be appetizing as a coach. Again, I'm talking like mid-major stuff. You're not leaving if you're going to Florida and you're good enough to play at Florida and you're going to go get drafted. Like that's a different animal, but that's like a 1% or 2% kid.
You got to forgive my ignorance here. Is this the last year of their COVID eligibility year?
This is the year we think that it will shake out. After this year, it should shake itself out a little bit.
The expectation is that it'll calm down,
That will help.
guess?
That has also hurt. But now we've got this convergence of everything. COVID, NIL.
You just don't know what way is the new way yet.
And here's the other thing. Much like Tim Parrington, who I think did a lot of good things. Look around the country today. I tweeted this earlier because I knew this one was coming. But I also tweeted this earlier because my Twitter feed is full of it. Coaches around the country getting dismissed. Like in baseball. Which means I don't know why that is. Like I think they're having trouble navigating it. I think you're having trouble figuring out like
how to keep your kids.
How do we keep our kids, or what's the best way to recruit? Because once again, I think in their human nature side of a coach is to go get a kid, develop them, keep them, run a program. Well, the pathway to winning right now is not that. The pathway to winning right now is going to get JUCO kids, transfer portal kids that have experience, that are older, and that you can go win right away with. The problem with that, very much like free agency in sports, is you've got to find the right mix. Yeah. And if you're going to go get 8 kids like that, how many are really going to work out for you?
It's also, I think, easier to do the whole reclamation project with the majority of your roster in a sport like basketball, where you only need a few of those kids to really work out in a dependent way, versus a sport like football or baseball, or even worse, football, where you need more of these guys to really come through and really play up to the top every day.
Kasey will be an important hire at your alma mater. I do think, and I've said this before a lot, I think places like UNF, anywhere in the state of Florida, really, they really have a golden opportunity to be very, very good in baseball. Like we've seen Coastal Carolina do it. We've seen places like Southern Miss do it. I mean, there are a bunch of schools like that. It's an interesting deal in college baseball where you don't have to be Duke and Florida State and everyone else. UNF, very competitive, but I think they've got another ladder to climb. Like if they get the right person in, if they figure it out and they can figure out today's landscape, like UNF can be very good in baseball. JU can be very, very good in baseball. I think it happened at Stetson. It's happened at Florida Gulf Coast. Like, don't you kind of feel that way about your alma mater? Like it should be able to be really good.
I actually don't, for everything you said before this, because what's the appeal of taking this job? I'm going to recruit the best kids I can. They're going to leave in a year. What are you doing to keep them? And you said your point. If you're a kid, you commit you brand yourself as a 4-year kid. Okay, great. Until somebody offers you money, then you're not a 4-year kid.
But Case, what about these guys who are looking to step up to take a coaching job who don't necessarily have the head coaching gig yet?
Right. So I think you will get somebody like that. But also, if I'm in there negotiating my contract, I'm going to be like, we're not going to win.
Well, since you put it out there, any truth to the rumor that one of UNF's most famous alumni is coming back to coach the baseball team?
Who would that be?
You.
It's not true.
No.
But seriously, why, if you're recruiting or trying to take a job at one of these schools, would you, and you're trying to get in, I get it. But like my contract cannot depend on wins and losses. Because if we don't have NIL, we can't compete. It's just the way that it's going to go. I can't compete continuously if my kids are going to leave every year. So when I'm doing my deal, I'm like, we need to decide on me getting hired and fired by things other than wins and losses if we're not going to play the same way everybody else is playing.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't know. I have a hard time knowing who's paying and who's not in baseball. I can tell you in the SEC, they're paying, right? I get that. Pac-12, the Power Fives are paying. Like I had heard this. Now, just totally had heard this last year at a travel event up in Atlanta. I overheard coaches talking, and they said it was if you made one of the SEC rosters. This was just a specific school they were talking about, but I won't say which one. And they said if you made the roster in the spring, you were getting like I think somebody said like $45,000 or $60,000 or something like that, just for making the roster in NIL money. Like, so basically they were guaranteeing that. And then there are probably stars or other people that can get more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, you can't do that at UNF. You're not doing that at UNF. And you're not doing that at JU. And you're not doing that probably in the A-Sun. Now, like what I don't have a good feel for, Kasey, is like, is Liberty doing that? Like, I don't know.
Likely.
But Liberty's been really good.
Not to that scale, but Liberty's definitely paying something.
So, like, I do think it's a bit of haves and have-nots. And the baseball money isn't the football money or even the basketball money or even some of the female sport money. Like, some of the stars of gymnastics.
Livy Dunn making north of $3 million.
I get that. But, like, what is my incentive to do well as this coach? You're going to take my kids if I do well. If I don't do well, I'm going to get fired.
Well, it's also like a job audition, right?
For what?
For your next big gig.
Yeah, it is. It can be that. Yeah.
But what are they judging me on? That I had kids go to the transfer portal 1 year after?
But it's not just wins and losses. You get recommendations from people you work with. You work with other coaches. People see how you conduct yourself.
Yeah,
it's always going to come back to that.
I think it's a good point you bring up. Like, is it a harder job than you would think? And listen, take away the other stuff. What UNF really needs to do in baseball and what they're really working on and trying to figure out is get their facilities better.
That too.
Like I go over there and I'm like, I don't really think it's a good place to play. But it's not the way it is in college baseball. I mean, the facilities in college baseball now are ridiculously good. Some of the high school facilities in baseball, go up to Georgia, are ridiculously good. And so they're in that game. Like that is part of the game. And they are right now on the outside of that. Like they're never going to get to where like Florida and SEC teams are, but they need to be better and get better. And that's a mission of theirs. Like that's definitely on the table. And so even without the other stuff that we're talking about that has now invaded college athletics, it was already tricky for UNF because of the facility race. Like they just aren't there. But I think they're going to attack that part. It'll be interesting to see what wins out because I think you bring up a good point. Maybe they just can't play that game, and it's a tough spot to be as a coach. But I do think if you figure out the formula of where do I get the right high school kids combined with the JUCO kids, combined with the transfer portal, like if I can figure out a formula that works and build up the program, I mean, we are seeing a lot of mid-major programs do very well year after year. I mean, Coastal Carolina wasn't handing people money. All of a sudden, they got a great crop of players in, made it to the World Series, won it all, and boom.
Right. They have some sort of pedigree.
Now they have a pedigree, yeah.
Right.
But it was kind of out of nowhere. I mean, they were good, but that was out of nowhere.
It was, but that was if you have that little bit of pedigree before all of this takes place, now they're at least a player. Like, UNF's not a player in this because they didn't have any pedigree.
Into it. Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. Now there's like that more pride, right? They're national champs.
Right. You could win if you come here. Like, we have proof that it's happened in the last 10 years.
I'll also give you one other reason why, too. They had started football, I think, somewhat. I don't know if they just started football, but football became more important, therefore they got money for football, which also their facility upgrades from everything else on campus. You know what I mean? So my guess is, and I'm not that familiar with Coastal Carolina, I think they were always pretty good. But they hit another level probably when their investment in their facilities, football, other things kind of started. And then they hit the jackpot with winning the national title. And they're good again. They've been good ever since. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to be a player for a long time to come in college baseball. So Best wishes to Tim Parenton. The good thing is he'll be around campus. And really, first and foremost, and I think this is I don't know if this is a good way to do it or however the breakup is or whatever. But the bottom line is he needs to take care of himself and the health issues. Sure. And he's really battled a lot. And he's a tough guy. And I think there's a lot of life lessons for that group at the University of North Florida watching what Coach Tim Parenton has done, and fought through a lot of things. So I think they had a lot of good things happen to them this year. And best wishes to Tim Parenton as we hopefully will run into him again at the University of North Florida. Real quick, since we're on college baseball, you see 12 out of the 16 host seeds are from the Southeast. ACC and SEC. Damn, college baseball is good in the Southeast.
That's pretty good. The boys are balling.
It is unbelievable. It is unreal how good it is.
I was just looking at some of the teams that were ranked this year that I had never heard of. I realized that sometimes you see from football to basketball, you're like, this is just an athletic university. But then you look at the baseball rankings and you're like, you just never see some of those names anywhere.
Like Eastern Carolina, who's up there.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I guess you'll see them like in an off year in football. But yeah, to the point, right?
Well, one thing in college baseball that's happened, which is kind of fascinating, is those schools like East Carolina and others, they've built these crazy good atmospheres. Like, I think that's part of the tool. Like UNF, JU, guess what? Don't only build the program, get the facilities up to par, and it's going to take a little bit, but build the atmosphere.
Like Dallas Baptist
I
University.
don't know about theirs. Dallas Baptist might be interesting in this current landscape. They had been good for a bit.
Yeah, in the early 2000s,
Go all the way back to the old days of Tulane used to be good, which is crazy. Tulane won. They went 19-40 this year and actually qualified for the NCAA tournament.
Good for the
That's odd. Pepperdine used to be good, right? Teams like that used to be good in college baseball.
Yeah.
So and then Dallas Baptist, never heard of them until they started playing college baseball really well.
Was Indiana State a baseball powerhouse?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you can do it, but I think a lot like East Carolina strikes me because they're okay in football, like they're okay in things, but the scene there, I think when like the last couple of years when it showed on TV, people are like, I want to go play for these guys. I mean, they got North Carolina, South Carolina, NC State. They got all these places right nearby, and Duke, and they're getting players, enough of them to be like one of the top teams in the country. I mean, that's called building a program, investing in the program, wanting to be a part of the program, and I think that's what places like here in town need to do. JU and UNF, it's got to be the whole thing. It's got to be the whole pie. It's not just one thing. You got to look at it from a bunch of different areas. And I mean, East Carolina's been able to do it. I mean, think about listen, Carolina baseball is pretty good. Like the whole state, they're pretty good. But to be able to have all those teams be that good and East Carolina be one of them, it seems almost ridiculous that they're able to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, watch that regional this week. They're hosting, right?
Yeah.
What? And it'll be electric. And you'll be like, I want to go. I remember saying it last year, like, last year, I want to go to it. I want to go to a game in East Carolina. Who has ever said that?
It's funny because it ends up being a recruiter, not for other athletes, but for people who live in that area, I think.
For students, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one crazy part about college baseball this time of year, the students are all gone.
That's a really good point. Like, who's going to I guess
a contingent will go, and stuff like that, but really,
I meant like which fans are going to the games, but they'll travel for those teams.
Yeah, it'll be electric. You watch, it'll be electric. Hey, we want to talk receivers for the Jags. They got a bunch of them. Let's take a break. We come back on the other side. Talk about Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram. Oh, and don't forget about Jamal Agnew somewhere in there. Because I do think he's a part of this offensive playbook. At least I think he should be. And I did pose this question once before, but we'll answer the question. Can you be too rich in the receiving game?
You're even forgetting one.
Probably. We'll be back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Don't forget to listen to the podcast. We're breaking up hour by hour. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Just subscribe to our podcast wherever you find your podcasts.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690. Partly sunny and warm today. Afternoon highs near 90 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, mid to upper 60s, and a partly sunny Wednesday. A widely scattered afternoon shower, thunderstorm tomorrow, but mainly inland near and west of I-95 with highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Why let a plumbing company tear up your property to repair or replace your old cast iron pipes when Superior Plumbing and Pipelining's no-dig trenchless service can reline them in just one day? Request an estimate now at SuperiorPlumbingJax.com.
Want a low down payment and a low monthly payment on your next ride? Then you gotta go to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Right now, you can buy a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $1,000 down and $288 a month. Or you choose a pre-owned 2020 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $1,000 down and $388 a month. With over 400 used in stock, plus more than 100 vehicles under $18K, don't wait. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/offers for full details.
The Beaches Green Market is a great place for families, friends, and pets to shop and eat local. Come to the Beaches Green Market this and every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Penman Park on Penman Road, just north of Beach Boulevard, for fresh local fruits and vegetables, plants, meats, eggs, baked goods, honey, wellness products, ready-to-eat snacks and drinks, and local artist craft goods. If you have an EBT card, stock up on free fruits and vegetables and edible plants. The Beaches Green Market, connecting people to better food. Go to diglocal.org to learn more.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
This time of year brings constant rain and those pesky storm-chasing roofers knocking on your door with scripted sales pitches. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company didn't become the first name in Jacksonville roofing with invasive sales tactics. Instead, they offer a low-pressure approach, free and transparent estimates, exceptional craftsmanship, and they get every job right the first time. That's why Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company is the first name in Jacksonville roofing. Request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. That's jackcwilsonroofing.com.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union. And that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pills or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment with our medical providers are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-206-7930. 904-206-7930. That's 904-206-7930.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. 4 o'clock hour continues. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter here on a Tuesday. Not a boring Tuesday. Not a bad Tuesday.
It's not
the worst day of the week Tuesday.
It's not that Tuesdays are boring. They're meh. There's nothing to them. They're not the beginning of anything. They're not the end of anything. It's just like the waiting room of the work week. That's why.
The waiting room of the work week. Very good. We should actually clip out some of his analogies sometimes.
Oh, you like those, huh?
Sometimes they're good.
Do a little bathroom reader. Make a little extra revenue.
Yeah, that could be good. I was listening to something the other day, and I'm not going to say it out loud because I want to make sure I got to check on it first and see if I can steal it. But I was listening to, I don't know what I was even listening to, but they said something, and I was like, I think that would be a good T-shirt. Like, how many times have you said that?
Multiple times. I've said it recently where I was like, I think I'm actually going to make this T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that could work. Like, that could be a good thing. Now, so much so that I was like, I bet somebody's already on this idea. I haven't looked it up yet.
Oh, so you don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
I was going to make us a show T-shirt.
If I get rich, we all get rich.
Well, that's
I mean, not all
exactly
of you listening,
true.
most likely,
Yeah.
but you guys.
Well, we'll get.
I'll make sure we'll get
pizza.
richer than you are.
Well, what's like the cutoff here? What's rich?
I don't know. What is rich?
Well, like if you're making $750 on a deal, are we getting a piece of that? $750K?
I was going to say 750 what?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you some of that.
Because you're not set for life, but you're having a great year.
Listen, you're going to get more than bunt cakes and pizza.
All right. Okay. Look it up, Case. Things are looking up.
Now we just got to go find a $750,000 deal.
Yeah. I actually
Can you make a lot of money off T-shirts? Because everybody makes T-shirts.
Not $750,000. The reason everybody makes T-shirts because there's no overhead whatsoever. You sign up with one of these like businesses that makes them on demand. You upload your graphic, people buy it, and then they make the shirt on demand.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like you're running a business without investing in it.
But like somebody's got to make money.
Well, the T-shirt maker makes money, but not.
So
the
you don't
person
think
selling.
anybody's getting like anybody can like life is good.
Yeah,
remember that one?
I think the manufacturer makes money on that kind of stuff, not necessarily the idea person. Because who's to say you can't rip it off and put it on another T-shirt? Like, who's checking that?
Well, it's a trademark.
Yeah, like you don't hear about that too much with clothing, though. I feel like it's hard to enforce.
Somebody has to be making money off T-shirts. Like, somebody had to have come up with an idea.
Yeah, I don't think it's idea. I think it's wholesalers. I think it's the people making the T-shirts, not the ideas for the T-shirts.
Well, what else can we do to get rich then? Why the hell are we thinking of a T-shirt if we can't get rich off it?
Any one of you guys an organ donor? I know a few dark alleys we could go visit.
I'm just trying to figure out a good... Why do I want to make a T-shirt so bad if I can't get rich? I've been thinking about T-shirt ideas for like half my life.
Well, I feel like you're not the kind of guy who cares about getting rich, or else you would have stopped with these harebrained schemes a long time ago and focused on your real job.
Well, I'm not that. Yeah, I'm not like obsessed with it. Like, but there are people, like I've worked with people in the past. They are always thinking of that idea that's going to get them rich. I guess that's like an entrepreneurial way of thinking.
Yeah, like an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Although the line does get blurred a little bit. It runs kind of close to scammers. You got to be able to really tell the difference there.
Yeah, I guess that.
Someone who's trying to take money off of you and someone who's trying to make money with you. Sometimes get a little blurry.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it would be cool to go on like Shark Tank with an idea.
Even if you got dressed down in front of the whole country?
Yeah, but probably.
It's embarrassing. Unless your business ends up being a great business, which has happened before. Someone goes on Shark Tank, they get chewed up, and then they end up having a decent business. I think there are a few famous ones. But if you've got a crap idea for a business and you don't know it, and they put you on, and in the back room they're laughing about it before you get on there, and then you go in front of the whole country, and then you do your song and dance like a court jester, like That is humiliating.
I guess, but I mean, so was like singing bad on American Idol, and that made people stars.
I guess.
Gave them their 5 minutes. So
okay,
like if you can put up with it, if you know that could happen,
and then if you can monetize the failure, then it's a win.
Well, and these days people monetize failure very well.
It's a whole industry.
TikTok, here we come. So bad ideas. Why hasn't anybody done the Shark? The people that have gotten eaten in the Shark Tank show.
I already see the low lights.
Yeah.
I like this a lot, actually.
Yeah, you would watch that. Fit right in.
That's a little toxic TV.
Absolutely.
I like that. Yeah. All right. I get with that.
Let's go. That's a good idea.
I used to have an idea for a TV show when I was a young adult. My friend used to make fun of me. It was called Let You Down. It was a prank show where you basically find out like what your dream is. Your dream is to become a singer. And so you stage this nightclub audition and you load the audience with your people, and everything's going great. And at the end of the night, a fake record guy comes up to you and gives you a deal and invites you over to the studio. And you go to the studio and you're recording your single, and then out of the closet comes all your friends and family laughing at you. My friend's like, I don't think anyone's going to buy the TV show.
We do like laughing at people.
Let You Down.
That is. Anyway, one last tip for you guys. I read something somewhere this weekend that the top 20 businesses, like companies 20 years ago, are not even on like a top 20 list today.
Wow. That would be astonishing.
I think I read that correctly.
Wow.
Like that's how turnover, in the way that just shows you the evolution of like technology.
Yeah,
and
that's
everything
not
else.
personnel turnover. That's like societal turnover.
That is. And I think technology has a lot to do with it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So you bring up AI a lot, right?
Yeah,
So in 20 years, you take the top 20 companies right now, will they adapt to potentially like AI?
I mean, they're trying to own AI if you look at the top companies right now, yeah.
And maybe they will. So maybe in 20 years it will be the same.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty interesting. I just kind of
Knowledge
knowledge is
wild.
power, they say.
20 years, that's all.
I think I read it right. I'll try to go back and look
That's
it up.
no amount of time, too. That's crazy.
All right, more important stuff to get to, like the Jags receivers who are rich.
The Jags are rich, and so are their receivers.
Yes.
Yes.
Jags are rich in receiving.
Yes.
And the question is, are they too rich?
It's a real thing, I think. Right? Like, you can have all these great guys, but at some point, if you're not getting everyone the ball, it will cause a problem. Now, will it cause a problem with these specific guys? I do think the Jags have done a tremendous job getting guys in the room who you're not going to find throwing a fit for not getting the ball. Like, Case, could you imagine Christian Kirk standing up and going, damn it, Trev, just throw me the ball some more?
No, but I do think it's fair to say we don't know how Calvin Ridley's going to react.
If he doesn't get the target share.
Yes.
Well,
I don't believe Christian Kirk will do, or Zay Jones. I think they're on the same page. But we just don't know about Calvin. Like, we just don't know it yet.
I think that's a fair point. We don't know enough about Calvin Ridley. And that hasn't happened to him, right? He was the top guy in Atlanta, so he was getting the ball.
And when he
Julio.
And when he wasn't, it was Julio. But, like, how are you arguing with that?
Yeah, and he was making that shift into becoming like
Yeah,
it
he
was
was
kind
a
of like
rookie
a
second-year
plan,
guy.
right?
Yeah.
So by the time he got good, he was going to be the guy, and that what's happening.
Yeah, different scenario.
So what's fascinating is you bring up a guy like Christian Kirk. Well, I love Christian Kirk, and I get what you're saying. But Kirk's been a little like brash this offseason. Coming out of the season, like, you guys don't respect me.
Oh, he's looking for his dividends.
And he's still, like, I think he retweeted something over the weekend. There was, like, a top 30 or 31, 35. I don't know what it was, but he was, like, 31st on some list. And he retweeted it.
Those were the dummies at PFF.
Is that what it was? And
PFF catching so much heat this offseason.
But my point is, like, again, Christian Kirk, who we got to know, like, he was awesome. He was great all year. And I'm not saying he's not great for saying this stuff. Like, that doesn't change my mind on him. But he has become a little more outspoken, at least publicly, about, yeah, you guys underrated me. You guys said I was making too much money. You guys say I'm 31st. Like, you're out of your mind. Like, I am way better than all of you think I am, and I've got no respect on my name. So if he didn't get as many catches, would he then be like, hey, I'm trying to prove something here, and I need the football?
Yeah,
like, does Doug have to balance a little bit of that?
I think these are wildly different things, especially for a guy like Christian Kirk, who's trying to prove to the world that he is someone special and people are still refusing to believe it, versus a guy like, take Elijah Moore as an example, because it's the last one off the top of my head, who wasn't getting the ball targeted at him nearly enough in his opinion and began making lots of loud noise about it. Denzel Mims on the same team with the same situation a year prior, not getting the time on the field, made a lot of noise in the locker room and then in the public to the media about it. I just don't imagine Christian Kirk is the kind of guy who's going to complain to the press about his targets. It just doesn't seem that way.
No, I'm not predicting it.
Right,
I'm
right.
just asking.
Whether he believes in himself or not. Zay Jones, it doesn't seem like that kind of guy at all. Evan Ingram didn't seem like that kind of guy last year. So I think with this group of guys, if you're going to have a room loaded with talent, they've got the right personality types to do it.
Guys, you look at their we've done this all off season, but as they hit the field and you start seeing everybody's rankings and lists and we get a little closer to the season, it is hard not to look at their receiving core and be like, wow, like that is good. This is a team that couldn't play offense for a lot of my tenure here so far in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And you look at that off, I'm telling you, Ingram, I think, is such a great fit for this offense. I think Zay Jones is a good fit for what Doug's trying to do and how he utilizes him. I think Christian Kirk is really good, and I understand why there might be some contention about being a number one, but he came here being a number one for this football team. Marvin Jones wasn't the number one. He came here being the number one. And so in his mind, he is a number one, and I think in the Jags' mind, he's a number one in a lot of respects in this offense, the way they want to use him. And then you add Ridley, who right now Doug Pederson's basically saying, I don't see rust, and he looks good. And if he looks like that, then we're getting the Ridley that we think we're getting. And then you in commercial break reminded me, don't forget about a guy like Travis Etienne, who we haven't seen the evolution of his part. And then don't forget about the other guy, Jamal Agnew, who I think is a piece here. He's not going to be a huge 50-catch guy piece, but he's a piece of this offense. I mean, I almost want to swear right now and say, holy, that's a lot. Like, seriously, that's a lot. That should get everybody excited. And I know, I feel like, hey, Brent, we've been saying this for a while. I know, but once in a while, you're reminded of it again. Like, when they get on the field, when you have these discussions, you're like, holy cow, like, they really do have that. And they have a very talented quarterback and a very talented play caller leading the way.
It's a weird debate to have, and I haven't heard anyone have it. But as I think through it, you know, we've talked about, well, where does Ridley slot in the list of all the wide receivers, or where does the duo of Ridley and Kirk slot, or where does the trio of Ridley, Etienne, and Ingram slot? But once you get out to the fourth or fifth option, find me a better team with better options. You talk about depth on the offensive line. There is depth in that receiving core. Lots of depth. And maybe Agnew, to your point, isn't one of these guys who could step into your number 2 receiver role. But they have guys to fill these needs, even if they're not traditional first option, second option guys.
Kasey, we should be excited about this. Like we can't like hyperbole this. I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's pretty legit. They do have the depth, which is important. Even at a position like tight end, you at least think Brenton Strange gives you an option there, and then you've got Luke Farrell as your 3 again, and then we know what they did depth-wise at the running back position. But, I mean, yeah, they have 3 really solid options when they run out with 3, and then Jamal Agnew's a guy that gives you the change of pace that can do a lot of good things for you. So, yeah, I mean, they're better set up than maybe they ever have been at that position.
Best offense in the NFL is Kansas City?
I wouldn't say that.
Like, what do you mean? On paper or real life?
Yeah, real life. I mean,
because like Mahomes carries a lot of that.
I get it. And what I'm trying to do is dissect, like, okay, why? So what I believe why they're the best offense in the league is because you have Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed. Mm-hmm. That you've heard me say this a bunch, but what really jumped off last year was seeing them a couple of times in person, again, reminding, wow, the in-sync nature of that group separates them. Like I don't care if other people have, like the Jags can have 5 weapons that go deeper than what Kansas City has, and they can have talent and a good quarterback and play caller, but they don't have that. Like you can't make up for what they have between those 3 guys that make everybody else better. And then who knows if you add DeAndre Hopkins and other people, but Miami, super talented on offense, right? The 2 wideouts, mm-hmm. they've got options, and as what Trevor Lawrence would call in a playbook, answers. Got a lot of answers that you can't really defend very well.
Yeah.
I would say Cincinnati and Philadelphia.
Very good. In different ways, right? Philadelphia has this toughness. Can you match up with their toughness, but also the ability to be explosive and also a play right now in football that can't be stopped. The 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 play for Jalen Hurts and their offensive line just can't stop it. Yeah. Like, show me somebody who's going to stop it, and then I'll believe that it can be stopped. But then you add the fact that you can throw it 35 yards down the field for an 80-yard play for A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. Tough to duplicate.
And you're not even talking about Dallas Goedert yet.
Cincinnati, I feel like Cincinnati's a little more like the Jags in this conversation because I don't know if there are things that you don't see anywhere else. I think you have a lot of talent. Like you have 2 top flight guys, and you have a young, we think, MVP candidate quarterback, and you do have the back in the backfield that keeps people honest. Probably a little more lean at tight end, but they're better at like their 1, 2, 3 positions at wide receiver, or say, right? But I also wouldn't say that they have the better offensive line than you do. So I think they're more like the Jags. And then you could debate, okay, can the Jags be better than them with all their options and their ability to do all these things? Like, I think you can make that case. The problem is you haven't seen it enough. So, like, I get it. Like, there's equity built up with Cincinnati. And I would say this. 9 out of 10 people are still taking Jamar Chase over Calvin Ridley, even if Ridley's good.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. But if Ridley is where he was headed to be, now you can put him in a conversation with a guy like Jamar Chase.
Well, he might have better numbers, yeah.
Which you couldn't do. Like, you just couldn't do that.
I'll throw this one on, too. You believe in what you got in the backfield with Travis Etienne and his ability, whether you think he's a 3-down back or not. But if the Bengals are letting go of Joe Mixon, like everyone thinks they're going to before the season starts, and that's leaving a gaping hole in their run attack, which is important for them.
And I think he's been a big part. Like, I think he's been an important part of it. He's been a touchdown guy for them, too.
Yeah.
And, the Jags remind me a little bit of, let's just say, like a Minnesota-type offense where there's a lot of answers. And we'll see what they do with Dalvin Cook and others. But they got tight end. They got a star receiver. They probably aren't even as deep at wide receiver as you are, quite frankly. And they have a quarterback that can get it done. I know he's not like ballyhooed like Trevor is, but guys put up good numbers.
Sure.
So, like, I think, like, the Jags, okay, I could compare that to Minnesota's offense. I could compare it to Miami's offense, at least stylistically. I can compare it to Cincinnati's offense. Again, I think I think Kansas City comes at you from a different way because of the in-sync nature of it, these intricacies of it, nuances of it. Philadelphia comes at you different because they're gonna run by you and over you.
Through your throat.
Right? And then maybe, like, I don't know where Seattle is in the mix. Is Seattle kind of more of the Cincinnatis, the Buffaloes,
they're more
the
to
Jags?
me like a Minnesota, but they've got a better run attack than any of these teams. It's interesting because they have these air raid weapons now.
Yeah.
They have it. They have the wide receivers.
But they
have
still don't have the
who can
quarterback that anybody else is talking
Not
about.
Not a Pro Bowler, all pro, but I mean, he had a great season last year.
No, they're the epitome of can we find, like, I forget what we were talking about like a week ago. Like, can we find a guy that can just throw it up in the air and these guys go get it? Like Seattle is trying to prove that, yes, we don't need Russell Wilson, who was great for us, or maybe Russell Wilson is that guy, and we proved that for the last 10 years. But we don't need the Joe Burrow because we've got 3 incredible athletes on the outside. And like Aaron said, they run it better than anybody.
Meanwhile, I know $30 million is a bargain compared to $50 million, but it's not like you're playing with a quarterback on the cheap.
No. Listen, he might be great. He might be a lot better than we all. I think we just need to see it again. It's easier to buy into guys like Trevor Lawrence, who we haven't seen a lot from, than Geno Smith, who we've seen the bad from,
12 years,
and then the good from, right?
Yeah.
And listen, here's the other part of this conversation: is all the guys that the Jags have. And this is the case in Cincinnati, and it's the case in probably Buffalo, and it's the case in Kansas City. It's not the case in Miami. It's not the case, I don't think, in Minnesota. And I don't think it's the case in a place like Seattle, for the examples that we just showed. The best player on the Jags offense is not any of the guys we mentioned. We think the best player is Trevor.
Right.
Like, that's the difference. Like, that puts you in a different... When you have good players like Kirk and Ridley and Ingram and Zay doing his part and Agnew doing his part and Etienne's a dangerous guy, but those aren't your best... That's not your best guy. Whew. Get excited here on a Tuesday. You said Tuesdays are boring. I'm fired up on a Tuesday. Let's listen, cut 4. How will Doug manage all these wide receiver weapons? Before we hit a break, we'll hear from Doug.
I think, obviously that's something that Press and myself and the offensive staff, as we get closer to games, how we plan to attack defenses, whether we're using, 2 tight ends or 3 receivers or 4 receivers or whatever. It just gives you a little more flexibility, I think, having really 3 guys like we do, dynamics of 3 guys, and it's hard to take a guy like Calvin or Christian or Zay, even Jamal off the field, but at times you're going to have to do that to create matchups, to create situations that could be advantageous for, an offense and for us. And so, those are all things that, we'll consider as we get closer to games.
I'm getting excited as we get closer to games. I know it's still a long way away, but
you don't forget you're on the record with what your prediction for Trevor is this year. All three of us are on the record, and I will be holding us to account once Week 18 is done.
What are we on record for?
Yeah, you've got numbers. You've got touchdown, interception, and yards numbers.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching.
Shoot. I'm so excited today. It just
may up them.
I may up them.
You want to revise them? I'll take the paper down. We'll revise them.
7,000 yards, 64 touchdowns, and only 12 picks. I mean,
what do you think? He's Kirk Cousins? Come on.
We're back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Don't forget about our Dream 18 card, everyone. We are actually going to give you a little discount price in June for Father's Day. And as we sell out of these cards, you can still get a bunch of value and even more now. The Action Sports Jax Dream 18 card, actionsportsjaxdream18.com to purchase, and you get to use it for the remainder of the year. So well worth it. Great Father's Day gift as well. actionsportsjaxdream18.com.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire the largest injury firm in the world for your injury case? Lots of people hired us. We've collected over $15 billion and won a lot. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highYieldReturns.net.
If you need someone to talk to, the LJD Jewish Family and Community Services is here with in-person trained counselors or through teletherapy. JFCS is here for Jax. Visit jfcsjax.org.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free.
at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Ready for a helpful tip? If you've got to drive it, rent it with Rent a Toyota at Arlington Toyota. Whether it's a car for a business trip, an SUV for an outdoor adventure, or a spacious minivan for that family vacation with all the stuff. If you've got to drive it, rent it with Rent a Toyota at Arlington Toyota. Rent a Toyota at Arlington is the best way to try it before you buy it. You can even rent 2023 models. And Arlington's competitive rental rates will put you behind the wheel with ease. Reserve your rental online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Blue Star medicated ointment works fast to relieve the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as you put it on, you can feel it working. We've had Blue Star in the family for years. It works on everything.
I love the cooling sensation on my athlete's foot.
What a relief for my eczema.
Nothing worked on my dry, cracked skin until I tried Blue Star.
Blue Star is great for scalp itch.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast, or your money back.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. All right, 3-day weekend. A lot going on. Little rapid fire for you boys. The Indy 500 do anything for you?
Nothing. Zero. I thought, Kasey, you were talking
Kasey,
about
you're
it.
an Indiana guy. This is like a home state.
You were tweeting it.
You all in?
Not at all.
But you did have a conversation with the winner.
I did
Last
a year ago.
Nice
Yeah.
job. Way to resell that.
You put your
I appreciate that.
Inserted himself into the conversation.
That's how you do it.
It wasn't
That's
even
good
a real
work.
tweet. Okay, I didn't realize what I was.
It's good for the brand.
Was it good for your brand, Case?
Not really.
No, okay, just checking.
I appreciated the effort.
Thanks, man. Last time I did it, you actually quote retweeted me and said how awful it was. So I do appreciate it.
I did. No, I didn't say how awful it was. I said hashtag selfish ambition.
No, you said a lot more than that.
A little bit.
But this time I retweeted it.
How the tables have turned. I think guys
What
hungry
was the
for your
last one that I
participation.
said was bad? Which one was that?
I don't remember. You just like really overreacted on Twitter. I just forget what it was. You like tagged Marcel and Stewart. You were like, "This is ridiculous." I was like, "My bad."
No, it was definitely selfish ambition.
It was the draft. Kid got drafted. Best moment of his life.
Yeah.
I pushed the interview where he's talking about he's working hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, "This is selfish."
Selfish ambition. That's a thing. Like we have selfish ambition.
No, totally.
That's great.
Trying to insert yourself in the
Yeah,
conversation.
That's
yeah.
what you were just saying.
Yes.
So it just depends what mood I am when I want to tweet at Kasey.
I like seeing not necessarily that kind of stuff because that's expected. Kasey did an interview with somebody. He's in the news. You're like, oh, yeah, what about this interview? Just a reminder. Sometimes, though, people get real tone deaf with the selfish ambition, like someone passes away.
Oh, yeah.
And then they throw up some picture of them partying with them or something like that. Like, we were friends. Stop it.
I know. You got to be careful of that.
Stop it. Stop it.
Like
You're
I
not
knew
part
about
of the
this a couple
story.
weeks ago,
Yeah,
even though
you're-
it just happened today.
You're not part of the story. Just relax.
How about Oklahoma softball 48 wins in a row? Does it matter?
For them.
For you?
No.
You know, well, you're not into the. I know I'm into the softball.
I do.
Yeah.
I actually
This is-
I watched the softball, but like
This is Brent's list of things that matter to Brent.
Right.
No, Indy 500 doesn't matter. to
That's
me.
fair. Okay.
And I still would not pour milk all over my head.
like I actually like watching
gross.
the softball, but like I'm not attached enough during the actual season.
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
not watching it when
I
they're
hear you.
just playing some conference weekend. I'll watch it now.
Like 48 wins a big deal, but like, are you stoked on it?
They are.
I'm not stoked on it. I just find it. In what sport do you see someone that's just so much better than everybody else? And it feels like we've seen that now in women's sports over the years with basketball, right? Tennessee was for a long time. Connecticut
True.
was. And right now, Oklahoma is that. Like, Oklahoma will not be beat. They might be beat once, but not going to be beat like enough to get bounced. Like, you're not beating them 2 out of 3.
Florida State.
They can't. I don't think they can beat them. They should be playing on 280-foot fences while everybody else plays on 230-foot fences or 20-foot fences.
They're the team that makes them change the rules?
I thought about it. I actually think they might. I wonder.
One thing you said this week and I agreed with, Montana Fouts has been at Alabama my whole life.
Yeah,
she has been on their team since I was 12 years old.
And credit to her for on one leg, basically, she's still got it done.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Still thinking about the 230-foot baseball fence.
Liam Hendricks returns.
That was cool.
That was pretty neat.
Yep,
good stuff. After a bout with cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? Or
sounds right.
I think it was. And he's made his way up. What's interesting about him, I think you brought this up before, it says, I love to pitch angry, and everybody's cheering me on.
Yeah,
and
the
I'm
whole
always sentimental.
Yeah.
Right? It's a really tough balancing act for him in his own mind. Mental gymnastics, as you would say. All right, let's go take a break. Football at 5 coming up next. We get D-Hop. Where's he going? Does he have anything left? There's some thoughts out there that he can't separate anymore.
Saw that.
Is he going to go steal money anyway?
Steal money?
A big contract.
Guy's an
Somebody
all-pro.
thinks he can separate.
I would take him in a heartbeat.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Got my beach towel? Check. My beach chair? Check. And I'm in luck because the Summer Starts Here sales event is going on now at Arlington Toyota. Now's the time to get hot deals on even hotter Toyotas. Even better, Arlington's got over 300 new Toyotas available. And with every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. I think this is going to be your best summer yet. Shop the Summer Starts Here sales event at Arlington Toyota today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hi, this is Earl Ron. New South makes windows that are both energy efficient and hurricane resistant. New South is the factory and eliminates the middleman. New South windows are made in Florida for Florida homes by Florida workers because we know Florida weather.
Going on now, save 35% off factory direct windows and doors. Call 1-800-NEW-WINDOWS.
Believe it or not, the year is almost half over, and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain that you said you'd get looked at or fixed. Well, enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. The Advanced Regenerative Medicine Solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without chronic joint pain. You can do all those summer activities you used to enjoy. Golf, running, walking. Hey, now pickleball, too. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body and applying them right into your achy joint, so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. This treatment is truly revolutionary. Patients across America are having life-changing results, and there's no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. If you have pain in your knees, your back, your shoulders, your hips, get it fixed. You need to stop what you're doing and call QC Kinetics right now for a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. 904-274-5522. It's a free consultation. 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Saying it's just time, Bob Myers is stepping down as president and GM of the Warriors. He explained his decision-making process included several factors beyond money. The 48-year-old, a two-time executive of the year and architect of 4 NBA championships with Golden State, unsure of his future professional pathway. With the Warriors facing salary and luxury tax issues, Myers' successor needs to be creative so the team stays a title contender. ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler.
For Golden State, maybe this is something that could give them a fresh look in terms of somebody having a different perspective on what they can do to try to continue this championship window, because I don't think it's closed yet. I think as long as Steph Curry is operating at the level that he is, you're still in the championship window. But it's going to take a lot of creativity on how you rebuild the rest of the roster.
Tim Legler on Fitz and Harry. Texas hiring former Wisconsin and Pitt football coach Paul Chryst as a special assistant to head coach Steve Sarkisian. Longtime college and NFL defensive coach Bill McGovern, who worked as UCLA's defensive coordinator last season, died after being diagnosed with cancer. He was 60 years old.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000 as ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Enter the word PLAN at ESPN690.com. That's PLAN. By 15 past the hour.
Your next chance to win $1,000 and have ESPN 690 pay your bills happens tomorrow morning at 8. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Football at 5 we go here on a Tuesday. Be at Stream Song over the next few days. Playing some golf, hosting some shows. Tell you more about our Dream 18. We partner up with Stream Song, and they've been very supportive of our Dream 18 initiatives, from our golf tournament to other things. And we'll be out there for a few days, one of the hidden gems in the state of Florida, if you can find it. Did you know there was a place called Bowling Green, Florida?
No, I only knew Kentucky.
That's where it is.
Crazy.
Bowling Green, Florida.
Wow.
So we will be there over the next few days. We've done that before here on Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Back at it over the next few days. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, and Overtime with Kurtz in Middleton coming up next, of course. Let's talk more football, as we do on Football at 5. We already talked about the Jags. Just a quick refresher. OTAs today. Cam Robinson back, and he was really there last week, but there's one media session for OTAs per week, so that you're allowed to go to, and he wasn't at the first one last week. He ended up being at the other two, so the media didn't see that. And we told you that last week here on ESPN 690. And then everybody got to see him today. And it was a little surprised, I think, to see Cam Robinson as he comes back from injury. We talked earlier in the show, and you can always go back and listen on our YouTube channel. Subscribe Action Sports Shacks on the podcast as well. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Just what is his role in 2023? Is he stepping in Game 7 if he's truly suspended for 6? We don't even know yet how long he's suspended. So what is the actual role of Cam Robinson? What does it mean for the future? I think a lot of people assume this is it for Cam Robinson in Jacksonville, but that also means you have to assume Anton Harrison is your future left tackle, or Walker Little plays really well.
There's a lot of ifs
to
there.
digest, right?
Yeah, a lot of ifs.
I still think there are more scenarios in play for the Jags Cam Robinson than maybe we think. I think we've already closed the book on where we think this is going to be in 24. And I think there's a now and a next year that is still up for some debate when it comes to Cam Robinson. And I would say keep it fluid for now, even though we think it could lean a certain way. I think a lot of things could take place. And I also believe the Jags want to be invested in the tackle position around Trevor Lawrence. I think that's a fact, and I think they've proven that the last couple of years.
Don't you think it's also possible, though, that the starting left tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024-25 isn't even on the team right now? You've got 3 left tackles, essentially.
I would say that I think either Walker Little or Anton Harrison are going to play in 2024.
No matter what.
Left tackle, yeah.
I mean, barring an injury, yeah.
I would just say if Walker Little doesn't get the job done or you don't think he can get the job done, then you're moving Anton Harrison over there. If Walker Little is really good, then you got your left and your right, and you're good, and you're probably going to re-sign Walker Little to some degree in 24 because that will be his last year.
So if Walker Little is a lot more ifs and hypotheticals, but if Walker Little struggles to the point where they consider moving Harrison over before Cam comes back,
yeah,
then you got a real problem.
Well, now then that's my point. Like, you don't know. Like, we can pencil this in, but we have no idea. Injuries, performance, who does come and go in the offseason next year, and do you really have to say Cam Robinson is gone again? It's like $17 million, so I get it. It makes a lot of sense. But you bring up restructuring. They're the one guy that they didn't restructure with. So what if Cam plays excellent football when he comes back?
Yeah. But you want to keep him.
You could restructure him.
Yeah. Third year of that deal.
So anyway, that's part of the conversation today. Other big part of the conversation, Brandon McManus is the new kicker. He's already booming 50-plus yarders. Obviously is the big leg. The big leg is the difference here for Doug Pederson and the staff. Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator. That was the differentiator. And they think 2, 3, 4, 5 yards matter. I think Kasey brought up the best question of the week, and it's only Tuesday. Would they have kicked the field goal from the 41-yard line of the Chargers in that game instead of run ETN on 4th and 1 if they had McManus? Fantastic question. Easy to say no right now because they got 4th and 1.
Yeah.
But I also think, do you bring in too many questions and decisions to your mind when you sign a guy like this that can kick it from 58, 59? The reason I'll even give you a double down on that, and Kasey brought this up a couple weeks ago when we were talking about, or maybe it was last week when we were talking about Denver and McManus. He has such a big leg that Nathaniel Hackett in his coaching debut decided to kick from whatever it was, 64 or something like that, instead of go for it. And we're all like, you're crazy, dude. What are you doing? And guess what? He was a crazy dude. What was he doing? So you know what I mean? Like, just because the guy has a big leg might actually
give yourself another option.
Indecision in your mind is what I'm getting at.
Could be the wrong option, yeah.
But the bottom line is the Jags value the big leg and the options that come with it for 2, 3, 4, 5 yards in the NFL actually makes a difference. The way they dissect things makes a difference. When you have 3rd and 8 from the 42-yard line or 44-yard line and you pick up 4 yards and it's 4th and 4, instead of punting now, you're kicking the 56, 57-yarder. And that's where the difference lies. So I get it, and that's what they're going with. All right, let's get some tweets. What you got?
Well, we were talking about the kicker. Before that, we were talking about the offensive line. The offensive line protects the quarterback, and that's where we start with a quarterback. This quarterback in Cleveland, they got to Deshaun Watson, and they asked him about his former teammate, DeAndre Hopkins. Would Deshaun Watson be interested in a little bit of a reunion for DeAndre Hopkins? Last time those two played together, DeAndre Hopkins was an All-Pro. Played pretty well with Deshaun Watson. So the question is, would there be interest there? And of course, Watson would be crazy to say no. He's interested. My question to you guys is it actually a possibility? We heard early on Buffalo and Kansas City were the two teams out in front, having the only substantial conversations prior to the draft on a trade.
Very good.
That didn't end up working out because the money wasn't right for DeAndre Hopkins. He wasn't into it, I guess, at that point, or knew that this was in the future, right? That he would get cut from the Cardinals and then be able to make his own decision, which is still the case, I think, up until I think the deadline is already passed. Is it 4 o'clock today? I think it might have been. In any case, chances are he's out from the Cardinals. He's going to get released, and he gets to decide where he's going. So, guys, where is DeAndre Hopkins going?
I think it was Kasey that brought up Cleveland as a pretty good option last week when this story broke. I get it. I think it's kind of interesting because they both wanted out of Houston and then to come back and play. So obviously that's been now publicly talked about a bit. So I believe that certainly has some legs. I still don't think they're the favorite.
No.
I think if he has said that he has all these demands. I want to play with this quarterback. I want to play with this organization.
He wants a stable quarterback, a good defense,
in an organization that's like not going to change things.
dysfunctional.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that kind of runs Cleveland.
Well, not
they've got 2 out of
dysfunctional.
3.
Yeah.
And then if you do one, like Cleveland's just not. Cleveland might be really good, but they're certainly not the odds-on favorite. It would be almost like Calais joining Atlanta in that respect, where he's buying that they're better than you think they are.
Yeah. Fowler's got them listed as a wild card team in the DeAndre Hopkins hunt. But Case, last time DeAndre played with Watson, 115 catches, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. Would that be enough to make him drop down that $19-20 million, $24 million contract request you hear rumored reports about?
Maybe. Like, I think Cleveland should be like a tier 2 option if we're tiering things. It seems like the theme of the
That is
offseason.
a thing to do lately. Maybe we just change it to pyramid.
So that they'd be like the See, now I'm confused.
Yeah,
because
maybe
are
we
the
should
best
stick
at the
with tier.
top or the best at the bottom?
The best is at the tippy top, least amount.
Yeah, so I like the tiers better because I think they're tier 2.
Yeah,
because they
we'll
could
stick
be
with
tier
tiers.
3.
That
They
is
could
kinda
be pyramid 3.
I actually think the Browns are tier 3 in this conversation, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, that's your opinion, but I think like Buffalo, Kansas City, tier 1.
Yes.
Whatever happened to like ladders, like a 10-step ladder?
Yeah, I think
Bro,
if we're
what?
looking at tier 2, I think you got 3 teams in tier 2. I think you got New England because Belichick is hot to trot on Hopkins. Hopkins love Belichick. The money, while more than Kasey and Buffalo, still isn't there in New England, but Bill O'Brien is. We think that's going to be a problem. That's why they're not in tier 1. Otherwise, I'd put them in tier 1.
Good point.
I got Dallas in tier 2. They got the money, the need, and that's the kind of team that goes out and makes this move, this big splashy free agent acquisition, whether he's earned that money or not. And I do think the Jets are players in that tier 2 space. They were in on OBJ at $15 million when he went to the Ravens. They're looking to give Aaron Rodgers some weapons. They could use a little more help at wide receiver.
Let me just ask you guys this. If you're DeAndre Hopkins, or if you're you, and you can play like you think DeAndre Hopkins can play, why would you consider anybody but Buffalo or Kansas City?
Money?
Yeah, I don't know. I keep trying to figure that out too.
Well, of course. Like, they'll be... Okay, well, one's not going to offer you $1 million. Someone else is going to offer you $20 million. The money's going to be relatively in the same ballpark, I would think.
Yeah, the reports have been that Buffalo and Buffalo and Kansas City were talking about numbers like 12.
Well, but maybe everybody gets to talking about 12 and just maybe Hopkins' agent's talking about 19.
Maybe.
You know, because there is a story out today that he can't separate anymore, right? Albert Breer
reporting that some executives are
saying he is not. Now, are they trying to talk him down in the pricing? Is that really the Bills and Chiefs executives?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's GMs trying to talk their owners down off the wish list.
Feels very like draft-esque.
Like if I'm DeAndre Hopkins though, to not go to the Chiefs, if the Chiefs are paying me 12, anybody else would have to pay me 22.
Yeah, because he's made a ton of money. Like, I get the money to some is more important than others. But here's the other thing about Kansas City, guys. In Buffalo, you're really not the number one.
No, you're not.
No, he's
in
the number
New
2.
York, I don't. Maybe you're the number one in, like, say, the Jets. The Cowboys, you're not.
He ain't the number one on the Jets. Garrett Wilson? No.
Yeah, true. Garrett Wilson.
I think it'd be a little more
you could
closer
argue it.
I know.
than some other teams.
But Kansas City, there's no argument.
Like,
Because I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers going,
you're like the number one.
But if you got Aaron Rodgers in New York, like, is he really going to, like, if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers' preference versus what the team wants, I feel like he goes to D-Hop more
I
than
do
he
too.
would go to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, he'll trust him more.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's fascinating to watch the Hopkins thing, where he ends up. But how good is he going to be? Because we've raised those questions. We've had this conversation now for over a week about Hopkins. And we've raised the question, how good is he still? And it's interesting to see that Albert Breer article come up where some execs are saying, hey, just doesn't have the separator anymore.
Well, separation matters.
You
but
get old quick in sports.
That's fair. But if you're playing against like CB2 and CB3 on the defense, separation is going to matter a little bit less to him because he'll be able to outmaneuver those guys.
Okay,
so,
but he's playing against for the Jets against the Dolphins twice a year. Then you separate.
No, I get it. And these tier 3 teams is why I think it's so interesting. You put a Cleveland Browns in there where he's playing across from Amari Cooper and he's got Nick Chubb behind him. A team like the Saints with Kamara in the backfield and a Chris Olave across, maybe even a healthier Michael Thomas on the field might be helping out. The Giants listed as one of these wild card teams from Fowler. They're certainly in need of receiver help. He might be a number 1 over there. The Falcons have a number 1. They got a number 1 and technically a number 2 if you count Kyle Pitts. So DeAndre Hopkins slide into that with a whole new Bijan Robinson could be an interesting fit there, although I don't think it's going to happen.
Did you guys see that stupid graphic of it was
Never
30,
heard a graphic in my life.
It was 33rd team, and it was like the best trio wide receivers. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Did you see Robbie Anderson on there with the Dolphins? Did anybody catch that?
No.
They had all these trios, like they all made sense, and then they wanted to put the Dolphins on there because like they have the best duo, and they threw Robbie Anderson.
They do this
on
sometimes.
There.
That's the
It's not even his name anymore, is it?
It's Chosen.
That's right.
Oh, my bad, Chosen. Honest mistake, bro.
You dead named him. It's Chosen.
I just saw you on there, but like for that point, I'm sure they could upgrade that to DeAndre Hopkins.
This is how bad the Jets are as an organization. That dude was the #1 wide receiver for more than a year. More than a year.
That's really bad.
That's who they had Sam Darnold thrown to.
That's just awful.
Don't get me. That's PTSD all over again.
Robbie Anderson, still relevant in 23.
All right, so where's it going? Where is DeAndre Hopkins? If you had to choose today, where's DeAndre Hopkins going to end up?
Yeah. I'm going to say the Cowboys.
Kansas City.
I like that Cowboys pick because they're the kind of team that goes out and does this, especially if the Breer report has any credibility. If this is anything about DeAndre Hopkins losing a step and not being as good as he thinks he is, Cowboys all day. That's the Cowboys kind of signing right there.
Who'd you say, Kasey?
Kansas City.
I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Why would he not? Like I just don't. When he does a press conference in any of the other 30 cities, like you're lying. You're not telling the truth that you would rather be here.
But doesn't ego matter at all, man? Like, wouldn't it matter like if he was the piece that got it done in Buffalo? Wouldn't that matter to him?
Wouldn't it matter if he was the piece that got it done in Dallas?
Or Dallas, like any of those teams outside of Kansas City who seems to win without him.
Yeah. Because you can win and get all the targets. Like, you're losing targets everywhere else you go. Like, he's not he's gaining like the guys that are losing targets if he goes there are like MVS and whatnot. But like you go to Buffalo, Diggs is getting 110 targets. Don't matter if DeAndre Hopkins plays or not. If he goes to Dallas, CeeDee Lamb's getting 110 targets. Don't matter. So like if you want to get the most maximum amount of targets, you're going to win, and you very likely are going to win a Super Bowl if you stay there for multiple years. Like I just don't know how he goes anywhere else. Like I just don't. Whatever though. Shout out to him.
We mentioned the Saints when we were talking about possible destination. I mentioned the Saints just because you've got some options there and some money there. The offense is a similar one.
It's reasonable.
But the Saints were actually in the news last week for bringing in John Gruden to help install the offense with Derek Carr.
Well, that's certainly a decision.
So this is interesting to me, Case, for a couple of reasons. But first and foremost, we've seen over the past couple of years this tendency by some teams to pair quarterbacks with some of their college teammates. It happened here in Jacksonville. You've got Trev and Travis, right? You've got it. You had it working in Las Vegas last year with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. And you've seen this in a couple of different spots. In Cincinnati, I believe you've got it going on. So this, I think, is another evolution of that. Now it's not just players that the quarterback is familiar with. Now they're bringing in former coaches and play callers that the quarterback is familiar with.
Smart.
At some point, do you guys think we're going to get to a situation where when you draft a quarterback, you're also drafting not a whole team, but a team, a group of 7 or 8 guys in different roles that will come along with that baggage? Like, will Caleb Williams come along with his favorite quarterback coach, a wide receiver from USC, maybe the head cheerleader who's now going to join whatever the Arizona Cardinals cheerleader team? Like, at some point, do you just say, hey, man, you're going to have to do this on your own?
Well, I don't know if it goes as deep as what you're saying, but I think about the situation here in Jacksonville, and I think it is crucial to finding the right infrastructure. We saw that not work with Trevor and Urban. We see it working with Doug Pederson, but I don't think it's just Doug Pederson. I think it's Mike McCoy, and it's obviously Jim Bob Cooter is now gone, Press Taylor. Like, they have this mix, and I think that's what some of the brilliance of Doug is putting that around him and what they figured out. And so I think the infrastructure does matter, and I don't think it can just be the coach. So whatever makes that quarterback comfortable, acclimate better, I think is a smart thing. Let's keep an eye on it. What do they do in Indy? What do they do in Houston? What do they do in Tennessee? Yeah. Like, I think these are interesting things to watch, but I think Jacksonville is a great example of, okay, it didn't work this way. It's really working this way. You've got to find the right fit in the right mix. And I think Doug's done a great job of that because he's got a lot of experience, but then you bring in a guy like Press Taylor, who I told you guys last week, I think he's a really good communicator. I think he's relatable. I think we saw that with Blake Bortles and Nathaniel Hackett, where they weren't buddies, but they could relate a little bit more because the age difference was closer. I think, Trevor doesn't have to just talk to 50-year-old coaches. He gets to talk to 30-year-old Press Taylor or 31-year-old Press Taylor. Like, I think that makes a difference.
Case, a lot of these teams will hire the throwing coach of the quarterback they draft and put him on the staff at least for a year while the quarterback gets acclimated. Do you think they need to go further than that?
I think if you're in a situation where you're drafting a quarterback, especially highly, because, then you're a garbage organization, you should look into this because you need to make that quarterback and that person feel as comfortable as they can when they're moving from a city to an unknown place. You mentioned Caleb Williams. When he does go to Arizona, I think they should look into that. If he's like, hey, this would help me get further along in the offense, we could figure some stuff out, this and that, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever it takes. So I'm all on board for that with young players. Derek Carr, though, bruh, you've been in the league a while, dog. Shouldn't you be able to figure this out on your own? A first, second, third-year player.
And
you know what I mean?
He's not the only one they're doing this. Look at New York Jets. They brought in Aaron Rodgers because they had Nathaniel Hackett there ready to install a familiar offense. You bring in Derek Carr. Dennis Allen runs a very similar offense to what Carr was running in Vegas, but Gruden was the guy who installed it for him.
That's fair.
It's very interesting to me. I like how you've already assigned Caleb Williams to Arizona, by the way. Didn't they just do this, by the way, with Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury?
But how did, seriously, how do they not get it? They also have Houston's pick. You're telling me that there's going to be a worse team in the league than Houston or Arizona? There's no way.
You're right, except that it's the NFL, right? So,
they'll get second and third picks?
Someone like the Eagles will end up with the first pick.
Not the Eagles.
Not the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Someone who doesn't need it or deserve it.
The Rams. The Rams
will
are
be
in the
there.
Conversation.
But they need it, and they will earn it by being an awful team. I'm talking something will happen to the Bengals this year. Or even the Patriots are fine.
That'd be crazy if it happened to the Rams, because then, they wouldn't trade. Arizona would come try to get the pick. They'd be like, nah.
Mm-mm.
Picks 2 and 3 for pick 1. That would be a wild trade.
What if you believe in Drake May, and then you can grab a whole other first rounders from the next 2 or 3 years?
Option. Sure.
Yeah.
I think you're going to ask that question either later today or later this week about Caleb Williams. Are people too high on that young man out of USC, which everybody has penciled as can't miss, which also hasn't been a bad thing in recent drafts and years. Those guys that we label as pretty good turn out to be pretty good, including the guy in Jacksonville, even though Urban tried to mess it up.
You almost got there.
Football at 5 when we come back. Rolls on. More football, more tweets. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck as well. And don't forget to check out our guy, Aaron Schachter, on 96.9 The Eagle, every morning as well. We'll be right back.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
A brief shower for just a few neighborhoods into early this evening. Otherwise, partly cloudy tonight, dropping to between 65 and 70 degrees. Partly sunny and warm for Wednesday. A widely scattered inland afternoon shower. Thunderstorm with highs between 85 and 90. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. While we've earned the reputation as North Florida and South Georgia's preeminent official Rolex jeweler, it's important to point out that at Underwoods we carry other watches too. We start with Seiko, the most reliable, serviceable watch made for under $500. And they've started making jeweled, self-winding watches again, and sports watches you'd have to see to believe. Next, we have Tavan, the Swiss-made ladies and men's and dress and sport watches, and they start at $575. Another name we carry is Tudor, inspired by Rolex with the same founder and owner, the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. And their sport watches and chronographs are the rage in Swiss timekeeping, with new in-house watch movements and exciting new model introductions every year. So if you're interested in watches, we have what you want at Underwoods, and all of our watches carry a 5-year warranty. At Underwoods, in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
You and your children can find safety. Hubbard House can help. For survivors of domestic violence in Duval and Baker counties, Hubbard House has free, confidential shelter and support. Caring advocates are available day and night. Contact 904-354-3114 or hubbardhouse.org to learn more.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's gonna fit. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Progressive Insurance protects people's cars, homes, and other vehicles. But if you've ever seen our commercials or even just heard our name, you probably already knew that. What you may not know is that we support Humble Design, a nonprofit that furnishes homes for families and veterans emerging from homelessness. Because a little help goes a long way. And a lot of help, well, you get the idea. Now, if you already knew all of this about Progressive Insurance, we're impressed. We'll have to find something else cool to tell you next time. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Already lowering the volume case, not letting me settle into this bump. This is my favorite one.
Why?
It's very anthemic. It sounds like the credits are rolling on a movie where you just won the championship.
Did we win the championship?
I mean,
we won the commercial break.
I won groceries the other day. You guys aren't friends with my wife on Instagram, so you didn't see the story she posted. Not to distract from football. We'll get right back to football, guys. I promise. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. I'm Aaron Schachter. He's Kasey Kurtz. And we're just talking. We're just chatting. But I got home with the groceries on Saturday, and I've got these dad tools, I call them.
Okay.
They're big blue hooks. And it's like a handle with hooks on both ends. And it allows me to carry multiple shopping bags simultaneously.
Interesting.
And so I'm in the trunk and I'm loading up. I got 15 on one arm. I got 13 on another.
Okay.
I got a box of 12er of soda cans under one arm. I got a water jug under the other arm. My wife sees me coming in, doesn't offer to help carry anything.
No.
Kids are sitting there laughing at me. Wife's sitting there, oh, I got to take a picture. It's like, fine. I won groceries.
Nice.
I came in first place.
Good for you. I forgot everything's a competition.
Oh, I won.
Scoreboard.
Oh, I definitely won.
No, it sounds like it.
They're not getting the win. They didn't do anything.
Where'd you buy the hooks?
I think I got them off like Amazon, or maybe I saw them on like Facebook and like there was a Wish ad or something.
What was their correct use for?
No, it was for groceries.
They sell grocery hooks from carrying them on your body.
Yeah, I'll try and find the link and put it up on the stream for those who are watching in a little bit. But yeah, totally. It allows you to carry multiple grocery bags at the same time. So you don't got to keep doing the back and forth case.
I'm not mad at it. I
don't know if you know this. We live in Florida. It's like 470 degrees outside.
Who are you telling?
I mean, not this past weekend, but it still feels like you win something when you can get all the groceries in one trip, though.
Amen. I just did the double. We just went to BJ's to get water.
Yeah.
I don't know how many's in them. A whole bunch. We got 2 of them, right? A lot of bottles.
Cool.
I was like, I'm not making 2 trips, so I just went double.
Oh, it was like a 24 of water bottles, and you stacked them? That's heavy.
I just went a double case.
You just built different, Kasey.
I can't explain to you how much I almost died.
Man, I bet your pecs were all beefed up and stuff.
I thought it was over.
Let a dude step to you when you're carrying 2 cases of 24 bottles of water.
He'll hopefully hold the door so I can get in the house.
Oh, you hit him over the head with the water. Don't you watch WWE or AEW or anything like that? You hit him with what you're holding, Kasey.
I shouldn't have been struggling as much as I was.
Let's get back to the tweets,
Probably,
shall we?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Checking in from our Facebook contingent. Steve Mann in the iCryo chat chamber. I watched a dude carry a whole bunch of bags on a scooter with those hooks.
So the hooks are popular.
Can I tear down the fourth wall for a second? I read that comment for the first time live on the air. It's very dangerous, folks. We're flying here without a net. This is what happens when Brent walks away from the microphone. Dad's out. The kids can play. Let's curse.
Let's not.
Okay. Just checking.
I mean,
I'm seeing where your line is, Kasey.
Listen, I'm fine, right? What do I have to lose? Not much.
I'm feeling a little spicy, Kasey.
You got more to lose than me. Just keep that in mind. All right? You got a family. You got 3 kids that need to eat. You already bought the grocery hooks, so you need to keep using them.
But what's the point of having all this if you don't put it on the line every once in a while?
I'm right there with you, my guy. I'll follow your lead.
All right.
Ready?
You get ready on the dump button. We may do it in this segment right here.
Oh, boy.
Let's start with Kirk Cousins. All you need to know about this tweet about Kirk Cousins is that the literal text of the tweet just says, big time oof.
That's mean.
That is rough. If your nickname is big time oof, you're not having a good time of it. Sure, Kirk Cousins, big time fantasy football guy. You're looking for 4,000, 4,200 yards in a season. Kirk Cousins is your guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for 30-plus touchdowns? Cuzzo can do it. Right? You're looking for moderately low interceptions? Kirk can come to the table for you.
That's your guy.
But don't ask him to go deep into the playoffs, man. Check out this stat. Division titles have mostly had a strong correlation with Super Bowl titles.
So wrong what they did to this team.
So here on the stat, you've got the Steelers, 24 division titles. Lots of Super Bowls. The Pats, 21 division titles. Thank you to the Jets. Lots of Super Bowls. Niners, 21. Cowboys, 21. Green Bay, 16 division titles. Lots of Super Bowls for those teams. Here are the Minnesota Vikings at 19. 19 divisional titles. And big time oof.
They literally wrote oof on the graphic if you're on the radio.
0 Super Bowls.
Everybody else has like the Super Bowl trophies next to them. And then in neon green with black letters, neon green paint, they put oof where the Vikings Super Bowls would be.
Could you imagine Kirk Cousins and his agent? Maybe it's a Drew Rosenhaus or somebody. Maybe Lamar Jackson's his agent. They're at the negotiating table. Kirk slides a piece of paper across with the number 45 written on it. It's like, ooh, this is my opening salvo. They just slide back a copy of this tweet that says,
big oof.
Big time oof.
Yeah, that'd be messed up.
Oh, poor Kirk Cousins, man.
Poor Kirk, because he's like, here's the thing about Kirk. It's not like Kirk won all 19 of these.
No.
He's won like 3
He's
or
not
2.
responsible for the vast majority by any stretch, but when you think about a guy who can't go deep into the playoffs.
He's literally the poster child.
He's the guy.
Like, when the Vikings continue to not win Super Bowls, this guy will be, like, you see these other 2 randoms on the graphic?
Yeah.
Those 2 dudes.
Was that Fran Tarkenton?
Sure, maybe. And the dude with the Viking helmet.
I wish I could tell you who that was.
Yeah, I got no clue who that is. But the point of the story is those guys will eventually be removed from the graphic. Kirk will never leave the graphic for the like. That's what he's penciled in as. If it's nighttime, my boy ain't winning, and if it's the playoffs, he's not winning.
That is a rough legacy to have if you're Kirk Cousins. Because
but
you've had a good career.
If that's the thing. If Kirk keeps playing as a starter, like if somebody brings him in next year, he starts for another 4 or 5 years, he's going to have gaudy numbers.
Yeah.
Like he's going to have Matt Ryan-like numbers.
Yeah. No, that's the point,
and
right?
And people are going to look back at it like in 20 years doing shows like this. They're going to be like, this Kirk Cousins guy must have been incredible.
Great. It was incredible.
Let me tell you a story.
Can't believe the Vikings couldn't put tools around him like the best wide receiver in football.
Yes.
Like one of the better running backs in football for his whole tenure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Poor Kirk.
So you don't think it's a coincidence, right? Or do you?
What do you mean?
Kirk not being able to get it done. Do you think it's just situation?
Here's the thing.
We're sitting here calling him a good quarterback.
I guess there are some people. I think this goes back to Jimmy Butler a little bit. We talked about it earlier in the show. Like Jimmy Butler, when the lights are the brighter, like the regular season, don't call Jimmy Butler. Like, is he a star? I don't know. But when you get to the playoffs, he's your guy. You ride or die with him. You said it with Jaylen Brown. He had a great season. He was all NBA. This guy didn't show up for the last month. He's been nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found.
Captain Kirk might just be that guy, unfortunately.
Not to go off on another tangent. You know what the problem with Jimmy Butler is? That he's listening to Nickelback to get pumped up for games.
Is this real?
I saw a video on YouTube. He's singing the song.
Nickelback, huh?
The legit lyrics.
He knew him and everything?
Dude, we'll get the audio in the break. We'll play it coming back from the next commercial break.
Of Jimmy Butler singing Nickelback.
This video is the oddest video I've ever seen. If anyone out there has seen this video, please vouch on my behalf. This dude is like wandering his living room in front of a camera, just looking at the floor like he's some awkward 13-year-old singing the song Rockstar by Nickelback.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's popular.
Bro.
Listen, I'm not saying you should be listening to it before you go out for Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Eastern Conference Finals, but
if I'm Jimmy Butler, I'm hiring every lawyer ever who passed the bar to sue YouTube to try and get that video taken down before another person sees it.
Yikes, that's a lot of lawyers who have passed the bar.
I'm visiting all 8 million people who have seen this video, and I'm trying to flash them with the Men in Black memory stick.
It's a great device, truly.
There's no way I want that video around if I'm Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy's got bigger fish to fry like the Denver Nuggets, but the point is, I just don't think Kirk...
You think it's bigger fish to fry, Denver Nuggets?
than getting this video off the
Avril
internet?
Lavigne was married to the lead singer of Nickelback. She doesn't have one of those videos floating around.
Avril Lavigne was married to Chad, whatever his name is?
I got to put this on the list, man. Chad Kroger.
I didn't know that. Avril Lavigne, never mind. That was going to be dumb button material. I'll tell you what. I was going to say something I shouldn't have. Captain Kirk, it appears, just does not have that killer instinct.
Look at you running.
I was, boy. I'll tell you what, it was going to be bad.
Look, YB is in the iCryo chat chamber saying, I get too turnt when Brent leaves the show, but it's you, Case. You're the one who's going to dump out of yourself.
That's what that would have been. Yeah. Boy, it was a bit.
We could move on.
Okay.
Pretend like it never happened. NFL
Avril
Rookie
Lavigne,
Watch tweeting about Caleb Williams.
Chad must have been the skater boy. All right, I'm done.
Caleb Williams said in a recent interview, this isn't any surprise. Teams might tank to select him in next year's NFL draft.
At least he's humble.
Williams said he's been working hard to re-up on the Heisman, win a natty, and go first overall. Those are goals. Those are goals right there. One NFL scout said recently Williams is a, quote, refined Patrick Mahomes. The Trojans quarterback is a star. Here's what I think they're trying to say when they say that Mahomes plays backyard football. They're saying Caleb Williams is capable of all those throws, but he looks like an actual NFL player doing it.
I got you.
You think that's an insult to Mahomes or a compliment to Caleb Williams? Because it feels kind of insulty.
It does feel kind of insulty. I would say...
It feels like someone called him a prettier Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but I also think I'll go compliment to Caleb Williams because I think if you're compared to Patrick Mahomes in anything right now, in a good way, then...
They're just saying you're goated.
And Patrick Mahomes is like, yeah, I know I'm kind of goated. So, like, I think Patrick Mahomes has perfected this. It always doesn't look perfect, but if Caleb Williams is more perfect looking while doing it, then I think that's a big-time compliment, and I think they're right, by the way. Caleb Williams should be the number one pick. And if he achieves even half of those goals, or another one of the 3 goals he has, because he will be the number one pick, if he wins another Heisman and or a national championship, I mean, it's going to be one of the best college careers of all time.
Which do you think will matter most to him when it's all said and done? And I'm not talking about his college career is all said and done. When Caleb Williams hangs it up after his NFL career, will it be winning the Heisman and a national championship, winning the Heisman back-to-back, or winning the Heisman and going number one in the NFL draft?
I think for him, he should want to have the national championship.
I feel like that's the thing people are supposed to say.
Well, I think, yes, it is, 1. And 2, I just think that if USC were to win a national championship over what Georgia is right now, over what Alabama is, what the SEC is, everyone's trying to join the SEC, if the team from Cali won it, I think that would be a big deal right now. I know they were great back when they were just inventing electricity and Keyshawn was there or whatever, but, like, it's been a minute. They've been awful, right?
Easy, man. I was like a teenager when Keyshawn was there.
My bad, dog. Like, since the Reggie Bush stuff, they've been awful. And
it's not been good.
There are a lot of, like, college football fans now that are younger than me or my age that are like, I don't remember USC being good. Like, you have to pull up a textbook.
We're seeing it in the chat, too. They're like, no way USC wins the national championship. Look, they were top 10 ranked last year.
So I think if he was able to win at USC, which I'm making it sound harder than it is, but I think it would make a statement right now for how dominant the teams in the SEC are.
That's fair.
So I think that would carry more for his legacy, although I think it's most likely that he's back-to-back Heisman because I think it's just hard to win the national championship.
One person in the history of the award has won back-to-back Heismans.
Right.
That was Archie Manning. Don't want to award it too early to him.
Right.
Now, you have had a school have their quarterback win back-to-back years, different guys. That was the old Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray back-to-back.
And now this guy's going to take Kyler Murray's job. It all comes full circle.
How interesting. A little, wow. It's the circle of life, Case.
It is.
Mufasa was talking about this from years ago. And here we go, the NFL version. I want to talk about the next tweet because I think it's part of a bigger problem, in my opinion, in the NFL, but I'm curious your take on it. This one's from Tommy, working over at G105. Not just regular Tommy.
I was like, Tommy.
You know I like those kind of tweets. You know, I like to take
Tommy?
Just some dude off the street, put him on the radio, but this guy works in media. He covers the Giants.
Oh.
So I've been steadfast in the belief that the Giants and Saquon Barkley work out a deal, but I don't like what I'm hearing right now. Inside of 50 days to go before the July 15th deadline, no progress has been made on a deal. Joe Shane had drawn a hard line in the sand when it came to guaranteed money. Barkley will have to be the one to either budge or decide if he wants to tell the Giants, you know what, I'll just see you week 1. He's not going to sit out games, according to Tommy on Twitter.
Thanks, Tommy.
History has shown that's got a negative ripple effect on a player, meaning if he sits out games, it's going to be worse for him on the deal than it's going to be if he actually plays the season on a deal he doesn't like and gets a deal next year. Case, my question to you is, what happened to the running back in the NFL? I mean, not too long ago, a premier position. We were just talking about Le'Veon Bell, I guess in the break. We didn't really bring it up on the show.
Right.
But Lev just secured the biggest deal for a running back ever not too long ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now the position I mean, it seems like everyone's got a number 1 and 2 running back that they're going to pay.
I saw this weekend Christian McCaffrey was talking about this situation, and, like, it's tough. I think Saquon Barkley is one of the best in the league, but
you bring up McCaffrey, I think it's the same point, right? These two guys, Barkley and McCaffrey, can change an offense.
Yes.
They can take a mediocre offense and make it good. Their skill set.
I mean, he literally did it. San Francisco, maybe, I don't want to call him mediocre, but they certainly took the next step when McCaffrey went to San Francisco.
They needed him, and they got production. And that's not always the way it goes down.
It's just...
Without Barkley, are the Giants even close to a playoff team this year? Not even close.
No, but I think if it's tough because they're kind of waiting on this to happen, right? They made this decision before the draft to what they were going to do with Saquon Barkley, the franchise tag, the Giants. So, like, I agree he's one of the best, but if you have a plan to move, like, I think that's what we're seeing with the running back position. You might get, if you're talking about an efficiency score, Saquon might give you 92%. But if I can find a guy that I can sign on a 1-year deal for $4 million to give me 85% of what Saquon's giving me,
Are you finding that, though? Like, the amount of offense run through these guys, that's almost as valuable as the quarterback.
Yes, but it goes back to so many good athletes, right? If you're going into the draft knowing, hey, we need a guy, do they change their mindset on Gibbs, right? I know the Lions got him early. Do they change what they do and get the kid?
Robinson or something?
Yeah, I mean, do they just change everything and make a different suggestion, or are they more aggressive with some of the, like a Miles Sanders? You know what I mean? I just think you can find that guy right now in the NFL, even as good as Saquon is. I think.
Yeah, this is where you and I disagree. I think there are guys trying to do those things, but if you're talking about Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, healthy Alvin Kamara, like, these guys are not dime a dozen.
I think McCaffrey is continued to prove that he is that guy, that, like, you can't find somebody to do 85% of what he does. We saw it when he was hurt. They couldn't do it in Carolina.
Couldn't do anything.
So I think Saquon's, like, the next up in the conversation, but I'm not there yet. If he has, now granted, if he goes out and plays week 1 and, doesn't go to offseason and he puts in another solid season, I think you're like, okay.
Yeah.
He's in that conversation. Kamara's another one. But, like, there's so few. You know what I mean?
I do. And I agree with you in that sense, is that it really is a unicorn kind of player. Forget about the fact that you've got to play 3 downs as a back to get any real kind of money, and you don't see that anywhere anymore, which actually might even be a function of the teams, their front offices, and the way they do their roster allocations, is that to keep this player from having to become 20% of the salary cap, you got to keep his carries down or something like that. But look, Derrick Henry carries the ball 350 to 400 times in a season. He is not Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, or maybe not even the production you'll see out of a Bijan Robinson or a Jahmyr Gibbs. That's not to say that King Henry isn't better than those guys.
He's another one that you just can't find that guy.
I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But if you run 85, 90% of the offense through Derrick Henry, you're a run team.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running 85, 90% of the offense through Christian McCaffrey, you could be a balanced team.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Alvin Kamara, any one of those versatile multi-use backs. We think we've got one here in Jacksonville.
It's true.
Time will tell. Time will tell. We'll go to break, Case, when we come back. I got a question from one of our listeners for you specifically. Baseball question in the iCryo chat chamber. And then we'll, I got a big secret I want to tell everyone. Big secret.
Never mind. Got it, buddy.
I got to think about what the big secret is during the break. You got to help me out, okay?
Okay.
It's a tease. We're just trying to bring everyone back.
Sounds good.
Back soon on the Brent Friends radio show, ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
If you're the victim of a car crash, never rush to settle with the insurance companies and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anna Jar Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
You know that the technical trades are red hot with career opportunities. Skilled heating and air technicians are highly respected and make great money. And nowhere are the opportunities hotter than at Hammond Air Conditioning, a local Jacksonville HVAC contractor that's been serving commercial and residential customers for over 60 years. Hammond is hot because there's plenty of work and a variety of rewarding and interesting roles, especially for experienced commercial duct installation techs where the projects are already scheduled and you could get to work right away. While Hammond has job openings in all areas, we're especially in need of residential and commercial service technicians. Because of the variety of work Hammond performs, you'll have a bigger variety of career directions you could take advantage of compared to the other HVAC contractors. And you'll be working for a family-owned local company that wants to see you advance and make more money. Go to HammondAC.com or call 904-398-6488.
The summer months can be a gift-giving time of year. Graduations, birthdays, Father's Day on the horizon. And if you know a golfer, we've got a gift for them. How about the Dream 18 golf cart? Action Sports Jacks, Dream18.com. Just $69 to save hundreds of dollars on local golf courses. The Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Action Sports Jacks, Dream18.com. Get the Dream 18 golf cart and golf all year.
As parents, we all want to ensure that our children are safe, secure, and healthy starting day one. Please make sure your newborn is sleeping safely. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com/safe sleep for infant safety tips. That's wolfsonchildrens.com/safe sleep.
1946 was a year of firsts. The first commercial use of a microwave oven, the first album release from Frank Sinatra, and the first name in Jacksonville roofing opened for business. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company's commitment to protecting Northeast Florida homes spans 3/4 of a century. For roof repairs or replacements, make sure your first call is to the first name in Jacksonville roofing, Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company, the first name in Jacksonville roofing.
Inflation has pushed up the cost of just about everything, which means if you bought life insurance a few years ago, it might not be enough to protect your family today. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. In a hurry? Don't worry. Call Select Quote now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. You can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-613-8990. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to ESPN 690, Brent and Friends. Welcome. As we are about to say goodbye. We have almost no time left, as a matter of fact.
We got time for your question.
Case, well, it's not my question. It's Craig Youngblood's question from the iCryo chat chamber. Case goes, don't know if y'all talked about it yet, but how does Kasey feel about the Rays possibly moving to Orlando?
First off, I just want to say, anytime anybody addresses a question for me, I greatly appreciate it. I'm the third most famous person on this show.
Probably the second most famous.
Behind you and Brent. So I'm glad that someone wants my opinion, whether it's probably going to be wrong. or right. But
follow up before you keep going.
Yeah.
What about the fact that maybe Craig thinks it's just a way for him to get on the air?
Possibly, but you won, sir. Congratulations, you did it correctly.
Okay.
I just hope that you'll want my opinion. If it's the Rays,
I can't let you have that.
Yeah, you can't. If it's the Rays, it might be right though. Okay. I would hate it. I think, although it is just Orlando, and you could easily be like, why? Like, would you feel this way? It would feel to me as if they left. Like, it's just, they're not the Tampa Bay Rays anymore. They're the Orlando. Like, nothing's the same. Even though it's the same state.
Welcome to the world.
It's like 90 minutes away, depending on where the stadium is, to where Tropicana Field is. It wouldn't feel the same to me.
You go to more games.
I could. You're right. But I wouldn't want to because now that the Orlando Rays. It's just not
likely a better stadium.
Probably, but I love the Trop, man.
Maybe a new move from ownership to try and win more often.
Yeah, unlikely. They ain't doing that. I wouldn't love it if it was the Rays. In terms of baseball in general, like expansion-wise.
Yeah. They're talking a lot about that.
I just don't get it. Like, I know the guy in Orlando really wants it. He put up the renderings. Renderings are a great thing to have. But, like, you've got Miami and you've got Tampa. Do you need another one? Like, does Orlando support the Magic in Orlando City enough for you to be like, yes, we need another team here?
I don't know that they do.
I don't know.
But Orlando does have at least history of professional baseball being played there. And you've got these teams in Tampa, Miami that aren't supported by their markets.
Which is why I would be stunned in Florida if they put a third team in Florida. Like, if they move the Rays, right?
I see what you're saying.
I get it.
You think it would have to be additional expansion. Not expansion. You think they would have to relocate.
They'd have to move the Rays.
Relocate a team.
Because a third, it just doesn't make sense to me there, because then divisionally, where are you putting them?
Divisionally is a new word you just created. I like that.
Thank you. Because, you're not putting them in the AL East. They play 20 minutes. It's 90 minutes. You're not putting them in the same division as the Rays, but you also can't put them in the NL East, but you have to put them in the East somewhere.
Yeah.
So, the whole thing is just weird. Because every other thing, Yankees, Mets, American League, National League, White Sox, Cubs, Rays,
If that
Marlins.
was the only roadblock, I'm sure they would figure that out. If that was the only thing keeping them from accessing another couple of billion,
sure,
they would figure that out. But to your point, you're right. I don't think they can expand to Orlando when you've already got somewhat failed franchises in Tampa and Miami.
Because you can't. And what are you banking on that it's going to work? The people of Orlando for how it's a long season.
That's fair.
How long are you staying interested? And it's not like the Magic. It's cool in Amway. If you build an outside stadium.
Oh, yeah. It needs to be air conditioned with a roof.
And at least
misters, maybe.
It just doesn't work.
Coming off the upper deck like your vegetables at Publix.
That'd be good.
Just getting blown on with air and water like you're in a 4D Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I would be shocked if they put a third Major League Baseball team in Florida.
YB wants a fourth. He wants to put one in Jacksonville, too.
At least Jacksonville makes more sense than Orlando, in my opinion, but that ain't happening. It's just not.
Great job, Case. I love the breakdown and the analysis.
I try my best.
Good stuff. That was a take I wouldn't have expected, but you're right. You're right.
It's just not the same, my guy.
Brent and Friends has been fun today, kids. We hope to see you again tomorrow. Maybe Brent's voice will be back by then. For Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, and Brent Martineau, have yourself a wonderful night. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton up next.